That's it. I've done it. It's on the thing that says more. Why is there a little picture of me in the bottom? Oh, I'm with it. Right. Right. It's virtual repair cafe time once again.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm in the frozen loft thanks to these LED bulbs that don't give out any heat. So has everybody had a good week?
Not bad. I've sold 2 more phones and I've sold 3 torches. The 3 torches are going to Australia.
Three torches.
3 of these torches, yeah, like this one here. It's called a box torch because it's square. Yeah, and it's very bright and very long-lasting battery. And
So
because where we live in the farm, it's very useful to have. It fits nicely in the pocket. And it's very bright.
What's the thing about it then? Why have people? Surely people in Australia have their own LED torches over there.
I don't know.
What's the thing that makes them want to buy one off you? Is there something about it?
It's probably some guy that was looking on my Etsy shop page, and I've got some of these on there. And there isn't one around where you either get these fancy IC things, which frankly are terrible for batteries because they give out. I mean, I've got one of these that runs off 1 AA cell. Brilliant. It only lasts about 3.5 hours. These will last literally hundreds of hours, and they're plenty bright enough to see where you're going around the farm like this, you know. And lasts literally hundreds of hours. And quite often I'll go walking in, you know, the village where we're sort of like nearest to is about nearly 2 miles away, and there's no street lamps for miles around. So these are almost an essential thing to have, really, because you walk out your house and within 5 yards you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Is it something to do with the LED then that makes it really bright?
I think it's because I select the LED and it's just very simple resistive drive. So there's nothing special about it in that respect. And because it is simple, instead of it just going to a certain point and then just dropping out because the driver IC can't power itself, this hasn't got a driver IC and it's just simple resistive. And when it gets to a certain point, it starts to go a little bit dimmer, but it'll be like that for hundreds of hours. So you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get home. With the IC ones, you know, with these IC drivers, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, your battery dies and it goes boom off. You know, you're plunged into darkness. So a lot of people like them because of that, you know. And I do them in all sorts of colours as well, LED colours.
I'll tell you what that'd be good as. That'd be good if you made one inside and outside light sort of arrangement. Because if it lasts like 100 hours or something.
Yeah. It just runs on standard alkaline batteries. And it could work well as the design's very adaptable. I mean, you can just simply put a bracket on there and have the switch as remote and have it on a wall somewhere outside as a floodlight. And I never thought of that, but people have suggested it. Mainly it's portable lights. So I've got one or two of them around the house that are 20 odd years old. They've really proved themselves and have been on many camping trips, and I'm a motorbiker, so they go out with me on the motorbikes, you know, and just get thrown around the top box and stuff like that. They're pretty tough little things.
Yeah.
And some of my friends and family have had them in the past. And we call it the M Power Torch, Box Torch, or BT series, not to be confused with British Telecom, of course. The number is BT2 because it's got 2 LEDs on it, and you can see some have 3.
You got a green one and a white one on it.
This one's got a cyan and a white one in it, yeah. The cyan is because cyan, I mean, I've got some all cyan ones as well, which are very popular. Because cyan is the peak 505 nanometers is the peak frequency which your eyes are most sensitive to. So an all cyan one, I can actually point at a sign 300 meters away and look through the binoculars and read it.
Ah. So the cyan one you can see more with a cyan LED than a white LED. That's
you can, yeah. Yeah.
A much
Why is
narrower
street
beam
lights not
holder than a standard lamp.
What was that again?
Doesn't such a light as that have a much narrower beam? So
This one, I think there are 15 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about the same as your standard torch, really.
Oh, right.
Normally in standard torch, unless it's one of them adjustable maglite type things, usually have quite a thin pencil beam, don't they? But with it having with it having a 15 degree, you can get 15 or 30 degree beams.
Oh,
The
right.
30 degree gives you a nice bit of flood. What people tend to do is probably say, "Oh, have a 15 and a 30 together," so you get a nice bright spot in the middle, and then you've still got quite a wide beam throw sort of thing. So there's all sorts of ways of building this torch to make it practical for the user sort of thing, depending on what they're doing. You know, you can have them in with red LEDs, and we've even had somebody say, "Can you do them in infrared? Because I can then do a stealth torch. No one's going to see you, but the cameras generally respond to infrared. I don't know if you ever pointed an infrared remote at your phone camera, you can actually see the LED flashing."
You ought to sell them as a kit, Matt.
Huh?
You ought to sell those as a kit.
Really?
You know, like
Okay.
Maplins used to do kits.
Yeah, could do.
Because I bet you'd sell a lot more as a kit. You'd be able to sell them a bit cheaper because you've not got to put them together.
Yeah,
And you've not got to waste time putting them together.
that's true. Yeah,
And then people could put in whatever LED they wanted if they really wanted to.
yeah,
Connect, couldn't they?
yeah.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
with some of the LEDs, I can buy in rather large bulk. I mean, I bought 1,000 LEDs for, I think it was £19.99. I think it was big pack of them,
Yeah.
and they're 2p an LED. They're really cheap. I couldn't get,
Yeah.
that's because the cyan's a very popular color. And then there's all sorts of companies like Opto Supply. If you look them up, they do LEDs in virtually any color under the sun, basically from infrared to ultraviolet, and all different sizes and powers and stuff like that and degrees. Opto Supply seems to be my preferred supply for the non-cyan stuff.
Yeah. It's not many years ago you couldn't get blue and white LEDs.
No, I think it was 2002, I think, the blue LED. See, with the blue LED, the white LED has a phosphor on it. I was talking to my wife saying, "How do LEDs work?" She was asking me the question, "How do LEDs work?" And I said, in a nutshell, I said, well, they work different to you think about bulbs, and when you put a piece of wire in a vacuum and then heat it to white heat and it glows, but it's very inefficient. But LEDs, they work on semiconductor, and all semiconductors emit some sort of light, even if you can't see it. And I don't know whether you see. Have you ever seen Fran Blanche?
Oh yeah, Fran Lab, yeah.
Fran Lab. She does. I think she does a really good article on LEDs. She's got some really old ones, and she was showing how the LED came about. It was a bit of an accident, really. When somebody noticed something glowing in I don't know whether it was a semiconductor device or whatever. Why is it glowing dark red? And then they realised, well, it was the doping wasn't quite right or something. But then they realised all semiconductor devices, when they're active, emit infrared light. So then, obviously, the history of LEDs was then finding a way of doping the PN junction to make it emit light. Of course, they were very inefficient to start with. You've got this like 3 MCD or something out of it, which was rather pathetic for a 20 milliamp LED. But obviously, they came to be used as indicators and obviously displays. You'll remember the old black Timex watch. which
Oh,
was
crikey, yeah.
made possible by the use of LEDs. Considering they tried it with bulb filaments many years ago, obviously bulb filaments are extremely inefficient. 90% of the bulb filament's energy is lost in the form of heat. So yeah,
Yes, thankfully.
the idea of having something in a watch. So the LEDs were ultimately a lot more efficient, and now I suppose you go 50 years later, 40, 50 years later, and the modern day 10-watt bulb is the same brightness as the old 100-watt bulb that used to burn your hands,
Yeah,
So that's how the technology's gone on. I suppose there's lots of people who've done the history of LEDs. I'm pretty sure even Big Clive's done something about it,
yeah. He's used a lot of them, I know that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's all these LED conversions of filament fairy lights and things like that.
Yeah, I did his one. In fact, the bulb that I did is the one that is powering this lamp at the side of me here. It's
Oh yeah,
this.
oh yeah,
And that's one of these Poundland LED bulbs.
oh yeah,
And Big Clive hacked it because he realised it had got a capacitive dropper
yeah,
in it. And he realised that if he changed the capacitor in it,
yeah,
it could make it super efficient.
yeah,
A little bit less bright, but
yeah,
super efficient. And he did
yeah.
the calculation, and he said, if I leave this bulb on 24 hours a day for a year, it'll use 50p's worth of electric. So
Quite incredible.
so I went and got one out of it. It was a Pifco bulb.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Out of Poundland. I think it's this one. Oh no, it's not this one. They're the ones in Poundland that have got like ridges like on them.
yeah,
here.
yeah,
And no, it's not this one because this one does actually get warm. Turns out. But yeah, I hacked one of those that and it's quite good.
yeah,
It's one of his most useful videos. That is
yeah,
Big Clive and the hacked LED lamp.
yeah,
It's one of the better ones that he's done.
yeah.
Let's say.
He's
And,
often doing bulb autopsies, isn't he? He often takes the bulb to bits to show you what's in there and the little power supplies and things like that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Got to know really what most bulbs contain,
Yeah, he's pretty good. Is Big Clive.
Yeah.
He knows his
He
stuff.
knows his bulbs.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Talking of bulbs, I'm just trying to relight myself at the minute. The lighting in this room is terrible. I don't know whether it's better.
At least it's not hummy like that fluorescent fitting I've got.
Yeah, it's not. It does look a bit flickery actually tonight. I've got a bit of flicker on mine tonight.
Yeah, I think capacitive dropper LED bulbs also can be quite flickery.
Yeah. Well, this above me, this thing above me, this is a fluorescent tube. So I think
Yeah.
that's doing, but it didn't seem to do it last week. So
Is it running on what sort of ballast is it running? Do you know what the ballast is? Is it electronic one or is it just electromagnetic?
I haven't a clue. I have a feeling it's probably an electromagnetic one.
Yeah, the same as this old thing up here. Yeah, and that's
So
what tends to give you the main hum, I suppose. I don't know whether when they get older as well.
yeah,
But the tube's not that old in it, but quite often if you get a tube with a really persistent phosphor, you can lose the main hum a bit. But
yeah,
the new ones don't seem to have as much persistence, so you get a little bit of light hum, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I shall have to fire the oil lamps up for next week.
Yeah,
It'll be warmer as well.
get some old-fashioned filament bulbs
Yeah,
to keep your
yeah.
shed
Get the tilly
warm.
lamps going. The tilly lamps and the Bioladians and
Chiller
things
lamps, yeah, get the oil lamps out, yeah. I
like
did
that.
think about that when our central heating went. I thought, oh, I could power a couple of oil lamps up, even though it's daylight or whatever, just to get the heat out of them.
Yeah,
'Cause I
yeah.
used,
Tilly lamps are really well. Tilly did a heater, didn't they?
they did, yeah.
They did a Tilly heater.
Didn't that work on the same principle as the lamp, the pressure
Yeah,
device,
yeah.
like a pressure
Exactly the
pump?
same principle, but the the sort of mantle in it was some kind of metal. It
So
was
it
like
only
a
goes
metal
red.
mesh.
Yeah,
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 and it just glowed, sort of thing, and
yeah, yeah,
put out more heat. Put out some light, but it put out more heat than light.
yeah, which is probably a
So
good idea. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
well,
I'll have to find
apparently,
some more Tilly lamps. I want some
yeah.
glasses for Tilly lamps. If
Oh,
anybody
yeah,
knows where you can get, I've got quite a few. I bet I've got about 20 Tilly lamps, about 10 of which I haven't got any glasses.
yeah, you see, I don't know whether Tilly, are they still around? Tilly as a company, do they still
That's a
trade?
very good question. I think they are. You can certainly still get lamp glasses and things new.
Yeah,
Whether it's the original Tilly company or not, I don't know. I think
yeah,
they are. I think Tilly's one that is still around.
yeah. Very popular in the camping. I mean, the LED type lanterns have taken over a lot, but there are still some people who prefer the older technology. So I certainly do prefer the old technology when I'm on holiday. I mean, we were on holiday a few weeks ago before the campground all shut, and we were just operating a couple of quite small little oil lamps, and they were perfectly bright enough, lighting the inside of our tent, and it gave a little heat out as well.
Yeah,
And
a
they're
little
remarkably economical as well.
wick driven oil lamp, a little
Yeah,
hurricane lamp. It's
yeah,
amazing. You put one of them in a tent. It's amazing how much warmth
they do.
they give
Yeah.
off. You just have to be a bit careful you don't knock it over and burn your tent down or something like that.
Yeah, that is a problem. I mean, I've got good old fashioned army tent, the army bivvy tent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and they're quite warm anyway in any sort of weather. I've had them up in force 10 gales. And
yeah,
what through the rope holders, other campers went chasing the remains of their dome tents across the field.
yeah, yeah,
Quite remarkable things. Yeah, wooden poles that you can't break,
yeah. That's what you want.
even though they stick out either side of the bike because it's 36 inches long, So when you're on the motorway on the bike, you have to be so careful to
Yeah, put them on long ways, not crossways.
yeah. Well, on one bike I got running boards, so they stuck out behind me, sort of thing. But they go on generally on the rear carrier, and they just stick out one side, sort of thing, when I'm riding. But as I say, they're indestructible. But you just have to
Yeah,
be careful when you're filtering down. When the motorway gets jammed up, generally on a motorbike, I'll be filtering through wing mirror forests, as I call them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bit narrow. You can't have a sidecar then. It'd be a bit narrow for a sidecar if you want to do that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you can't really do it in a sidecar.
No.
Never tried riding a sidecar. I know that there are people. I've got friends down south that I used to know in the motorbike club that got a Ural outfit. What this guy's got a Ural outfit, and it's got sidecar wheel drive on it as well, so it can go practically anywhere.
Yeah.
Designed as a military piece of equipment. Really. The sidecar's on the wrong side of the bike because it's obviously for Europe or that sort of area, right?
Yeah.
But it's brilliant for going anywhere. And of course, you've got this whacking rate box. If you're not going to passenger on the back, on the side, in the sidecar, you've got this huge box to put stuff, and you find that it comes and you've got this massive tent with tables and chairs, and it'll come out of this sidecar.
Yeah.
So it makes a brilliant load space, but the only thing is it doesn't make for good filtering when you
No.
get stuck in traffic.
No. Knock a few wing mirrors off with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent
Yeah.
stuff. How's things with you, Ian?
A good deal better than last week. We now have heating.
Oh, excellent.
So I can laugh at your position now.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
I've got heating downstairs, just that it don't go pee. People that say heat risers.
That's
Yeah.
good when doors open. We had our
Would-
heating repaired. It's
would you-
biofuel.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
Would you try
we've got
your
heating now. Yeah. So I was sitting here with a fan heater on last week.
I was doing the
Ah.
same last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're due to have a new heating system, but the guy's so busy he can't come till the beginning of December at least.
Oh dear.
So in the meantime, he's brought me a couple of electronic control boards for the old boiler. And I've managed to get one of those working. So the thing is pushing out heat at the moment.
Well, that's good.
Oh,
How long
Excellent.
it'll last, I don't know.
you've repaired it then.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always the control boards that going on.
yeah.
I had
Yeah.
one go some time ago, and what it was, the tank that has the water in had got a little split in it, and that had dribbled down onto the electronic control board that was
Oh,
sighted
lovely.
underneath the tank full of. Now, I'm not clever, but if I were designing a central heating boiler, in that box that goes on your wall, I'd put the
Mhm.
electronic bit
Yeah.
above the
Yeah.
watery bit.
Yeah.
True.
But
The only problem with mine, I'm pretty certain it was a little relay on it. It was chattering
Okay.
away.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it sounds like a relay. It's not closing. Yeah, closing
Yeah,
open, closing open.
yeah.
Mm.
It was just
Yeah.
bouncing. So I wasn't absolutely sure. So I didn't go and spend about 168 quid for the new board with the relay on. I was about to go and order just a relay
Yeah.
and see if that did it. But as I said, this guy turned up and said, "Here are a couple of boards. See if you can do anything with those." And while you're waiting for me,
Mm.
it's worked. We've got heat.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
We'll read him now then.
Yeah.
Yep.
You still got the old PCBs? Or has he taken them away?
Sorry, the old.
The old PCBs, the boards that he took out.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing it properly.
Um,
Yeah. You've
yeah.
got-
Have you still got the old PC boards, the boards that he took out?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So you might be able to change the relay on one of them or something. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the system is defunct anyway. It's a hot air heating system.
Oh yeah, like they have in
Uh,
America. You
Yeah.
call them-
Apparently the government have now stopped them producing,
Mm.
and so the company in this area who deals with them specifically, they've brought out this method of using a heat exchanger in conjunction with a condensing boiler. Well, our hot air system used to have a separate heater in it for the water. That packed in years ago, we had a condensing boiler put in then. And just in case the whole lot went, we had one big enough to take care of radiators throughout the house.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been persuaded, don't do it that way. Have this new heat exchanger and it does the business. So I'm hoping it's right.
Mm.
Uh,
I'm trying to
that's
think.
what
There
we're-
was a guy who actually did, because they're very common, these hot air systems. They call them furnaces in America.
Yeah, it
And
was
there was a
pointed
guy
out-
did a YouTube video a few weeks ago about how they work.
Mhm.
And they said they're incredibly efficient. I don't know why. They were saying like central heating and aircon, the old radiator type things, they're not very common in America now.
Mm.
And they all went on these furnaces which do both the heating and air conditioning. And he was showing us like, you know, all the different systems inside. I'm trying to think what the guy's name is. He runs a channel and describes all these various things, technology something. Technology Connections. That's the name of his channel.
When we had this heating system, we've had it 32 years, so it's we don't owe us anything.
No,
They pointed out that, you know, we said, well, you know, surely it's old technology, nobody uses hot. And they pointed out that, yeah, where do you think all the heating comes from in shops and department stores?
yeah,
You don't have radiators around the walls, you know?
no,
So we were persuaded and we found it extremely efficient.
yeah,
One of the real joys of it is if you come in at a night and for some reason it's not been on and the house is chilly, wind up the start and you're warm
Yeah.
within minutes. It
Yeah.
really is good.
There's all the situations as well where you're not got water going around radiators, and yeah, if you have like a burst pipe or anything, you know,
That's right, yeah.
that's a problem. I mean, it's the reason why I think the Yanks prefer them, because you know you have ducting. Obviously, it's air ducting, isn't it, that goes
Mm.
throughout the house. Well, the house is especially designed with very thick walls to take all the ducting, obviously.
Yeah.
But
That's right. Hot
there's
air,
no
hot air heating would be hard to put into an existing house, much harder.
much harder, I think. Yeah,
But when the house has been built with it,
yeah,
it's there. It's,
yeah.
it does
Yeah,
concern me that perhaps we've got some dodgy insulation here and there, but I'm leaving that well alone
yeah.
under the floorboard and hoping nothing's crumbling away.
Mm. I think, as I say, the vast majority of Americans, they have that hot air system.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lot of council flats and that in Sheffield had it as well, didn't they? Did Park Hill Flats have it at one point? No,
I don't know.
I don't know. I
Something-
don't live in Sheffield.
because there was one of the blocks of flats somewhere that got its heat from an incinerator.
Yeah.
Council
Right, yeah.
incinerator.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
that's down next to the Parkway, isn't it?
Mm.
Parkway going out of Sheffield to the M1. The
The incinerator, yeah.
Viola, the Viola
Yeah.
incinerator, I think it is next to it.
Yeah, that's I think that's a relatively new incinerator, but I think there
It
was
is.
one in a block of flats or something somewhere. If
Oh,
I remembered that
There was
right.
one.
Sort of going back to the sort of 60s or 70s and stuff.
If you
Yeah.
go down City Road and down onto Duke Street, and at the end of Park Hill Flats, there's still the chimney, I believe, from where the incinerator was. But I think it was only conventional heating. It wasn't air.
It was eating up
Um,
water, was it, and pumping water around?
Yeah, because when I had the shop on Park Hill, it was radiators of the big old style, not the modern flat things, but it certainly was water in them.
Ah, right. Oh,
Yeah.
you learn something new every day. You're a bit quiet, by the way, Alan. Bung your volume up a bit.
Yeah, it was quiet here. I presume
can't.
Anthony had the same trouble because I saw him reaching out as if he was reaching for the volume control.
Mm.
I can't. It's just. And it.
Always
I
know
need
where to
some
put
new
your mic.
headphones.
Yeah, it
The
was a bit
interesting
quiet.
thing about this farmhouse that this farm cottage that we're living in is that all the farm cottages here are heated from one point, and it's a biofuel central heating. So
right.
there's a boiler in the field out front, that runs off biofuel, basically wood chippings, cow poo, whatever else they put in it. I've no idea what goes into it. It's biofuel. So we get it very cheap. It's 3p a kilowatt hour, and that's for there's 6 houses in this row, and then there's a farmhouse, and they all run off this one boiler.
So what's that doing then, Matt? Is that burning whatever you put in it, or is it a biodigester that's making a gas and then you're burning the gas?
I think they're burning it directly. There's a smokestack on it, and you know when it's working well because there's obviously a smoke coming from it. So it's like wood chips and all sorts of biomass, as they call it, and it's very cheap for us because it's only 3p a kilowatt hour. So you can have your house nice and toasty warm. You got all your hot water, and it is water. It is actually a water device, not a hypercourse type device or air. So it does need to be kept on in the middle of winter. But yeah, it's very, very good. But up until a few weeks ago, when a major part broke down and all the houses here were cold because of it. Because the part broke down in the boiler, and they were fixing it for ages, and it was quite cold in here. We had to run a fan heater just to keep one room warm, like you know. And of course, you had to boil all your water to wash up and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a bit of a pain, but we've been here 4 years, and it's the only time it's ever been wrong.
It's not bad.
Well,
We have a friend on a sheep farm in Scotland, and it's a bit remote, and because the farming's not doing so great, he's diversified a bit, and all the old buildings, one by one, he's had them done up, and he now rents them out. But all the heating, he decided on a simple system for everybody. It comes from a geothermal heater.
Oh wow!
So is that a company in, and they've drilled down, I can't remember all the detail, a hell of a long way, and the heat comes up permanently, night and day, 24 hours, and it feeds all the bungalows, all the various buildings on this old farm.
Brilliant.
And it seems it's been a positive thing for him to do. So that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
wow, that's cool. I
I'm
thought
not
you were going to
sure
do things like that in Iceland, but yeah. So in Scotland was this?
Yeah, Abington, just off the A74, not far from where the Lockerbie aircraft came down.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah,
And he's up on a hill farm.
yeah.
I think you can do it anywhere. It's always warmer underground, isn't it?
So it's nearer to the
like when you go
interior
down
of the
the
planet
tube.
you get.
You go down the London Tube, and it's always warm in the tube.
It is, yeah.
My dad used to work in the mines, not actually as a miner, but as a medic, and you go down a couple of thousand meters or whatever, and it was quite warm in there. Surprising, you know, just a few thousand meters, and you can get up to about 40 degrees.
I don't know about modern day, but photographs of miners in days gone past, they're all bare-chested, some of them naked altogether, I understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a suggestion that it was a little warm.
Yeah, it's certainly worked. Ground source heat pumps, they call them, don't they?
Yeah.
These things that lift the heat out of the ground. And that, if you watch that Grand Designs program on TV, they're always putting them in.
Yeah.
But they never quite show you what they actually do.
No.
But, you basically dig some sort of a hole. I assume you must have to pump something down there. You must have to like pump water down for it to warm up and then come up again.
Well, you could use a very long Peltier device or something.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Don't know how they actually get the heat out.
I suppose you can have like a Peltier stack which pulls the heat up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, having like one on top of the other, and it just pushes the heat up from cell to cell to cell to cell until it emerges at the top.
I don't know.
Probably
I don't
one
know how
way
they
of
do
doing
it.
it. I don't know. We'd have quite a complex wiring to do that. But
They always talk about them, but they never actually show you them. So
no.
you don't actually see how it works. And
You'll have to
stuff.
Google it, Andy.
Yeah,
Google
yeah, I will. Yeah,
geothermal.
yeah, yeah.
Geothermal. Yeah.
Mm,
Sure, there must be a YouTube video on it somewhere.
Yeah.
probably.
Mm,
There's a YouTube video on most things.
yeah.
And, out there in the world.
Mm.
So you've not been fixing stuff for the shop then this week here?
No, they've closed down with the lockdown. Both shops have closed entirely, at least until the beginning of December.
Yeah, well, they can't open as shops, but I thought the volunteers might still be doing stuff. And
They won't let us in. No, I
What's the-
presume that's a company decision. I think.
yeah, I was going to say volunteer organisations can carry on if they want to. It is definitely on the exemption list.
Yeah.
That is. So
No,
what's on
both shops have closed down altogether, and they said they'll call me when they want me. Maybe it's
Oh.
just me. Maybe they're trying to tell me something.
Yeah. got nothing to do now then.
My wife finds me other things to do. I don't get too bored.
Yeah, you'll find a pile of stuff somewhere along the line.
Mm.
I'm sure.
Well, she's got me making some of these flower beds at the moment with like sleepers, logs.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what I've been at all day today, and
Ah,
tomorrow, and the next day.
wrong time of year for flower beds, Stella.
During
Which
the
colours?
first, we hadn't got the items that we needed during the first lockdown. So we did eventually get them, thinking, oh, if we lock down again, I'll be all right. So that's where we're at, really.
Yeah. So when there has been a train derailed in Sheffield, hasn't there, this week? In Sheffield Street.
Yeah.
It's not you nicking the sleepers, is it? Yeah, I heard about this train that had derailed somewhere in Sheffield and caused absolute havoc. All the way causing havoc in Manchester. The train that derailed in Sheffield. Don't quite know how that worked, but it did.
Well, I think it
So-
was on the Sheffield-Manchester line going through Totley area.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, put them back then.
When my wife first saw that, the pictures of it, she thought it had done like some buses do, when they go on the wrong line, take a double decker and hit a bridge. She thought that had happened, but no, it hadn't.
Yeah.
It just happened that the tank thing came off the rails just prior to the tunnel.
Oh, right, I've not seen the picture. It was a tank that came off, was it?
One of these sort of, I don't know what you would call them, as though they contain lots of liquid,
Tank car,
A
yeah.
tanker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanker.
And it was just laid on its side next to the tunnel. So my missus assumed that it had done the same as a double-decker bus and hit the bridge.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I think
so,
it had derailed. I think it had just derailed, and like your Hornby does every now and again, one just drops off, doesn't it?
There were cement
I
wagons.
think there's what, Alan?
The cement wagons.
A cement wagon, was it?
Ah,
Yeah, that makes sense because there's a big cement works out there somewhere, isn't there?
Ketton
Yeah,
cement. or
that's
something.
what they said on the radio anyway. I can't remember what they said. 14 wagons, cement wagons. 14 trucks full of cement wagons.
14. Crikey. That would have made a bit of a mess
only
there.
one derailed. But
Oh,
it was
right.
A train of 14.
Oh, right. Oh, no, not a particularly big train then. So they probably got away with that quite well. No.
She's saying
Yeah.
they said it was 20 odd a train of.
Yeah. Yeah, at least we don't have trains like they have in America where it's only about 2 mile long. And the back one comes off, and the poor engineer has to walk to the back to see what's happened.
I was watching one of them. That train's 4.5 miles long.
Yeah. Yeah, they often are. They often are. If you watch these American YouTube videos of them, these trains in America, the engine comes and there's about 6 engines. That gives you the clue to start with, and then you count the cars. And when you're counting the actual cars on a train, you know, you're counting like maybe 20 or 30, probably 40 on an English train. In America, they're well into the hundreds. You know, 150, 200, 250 cars. What I've never quite understood about it is, how do you couple a train that long together and it not pull itself apart? Because those knuckle couple of things, each wagon, each car has got to have a chassis on it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's pulling the rest of the train. So if that locomotive is trying to pull that train along, and there's all them behind it, 4 miles worth of train behind it, why does it not just rip the first one apart?
Incredible, isn't it? Unless they have an engine halfway along or something.
Sometimes, but not often. Sometimes they do, but not very often. But the forces on it must be phenomenal on that. You know, they must be, well, I don't know what they're made out of. Made out of kryptonite or something. But they certainly don't do alpha meshes in railways over there. Not by any stretch of the imagination. They put ours to shame. They do. Right. So
Anyway, I've got a question.
Go on, fire away.
We see this transformer.
Hang on a minute. Let me just switch my view so you're on a big screen, and then I probably will.
Type thing. Yeah.
Right. Say something again, Alan.
Okay, so this transformer here. Right.
Yeah. Go. Right. Go to your right a bit with it. That's better. Yeah.
Right. Like a,
Okay.
oh yeah, it's like a wall wart of some sort with a.
It is.
Yeah. What's on the other end of it?
Let me unmute myself. So we've got these.
Right, can't see them. They're too low. Got to hold them right up in
That's
front of
it.
your face.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want one of these with multiple outputs. Ever seen one?
What do you mean multiple outputs?
Well, one 3-pin plug with where I can put 4 or 5 or 6.
Looks like an XLR connector, that does. What sort of connector is it?
Fairy light connector. How you get on fairy lights these days?
Yes. Well, it's for the bulbs.
Breaking up a bit.
Hello, it's breaking up.
Freezing.
Is Sandra learning how to make chocolates by any chance?
No, they were going to charge you £5 a go just to sit and watch.
All right. Right, in that case, chaps, we're making chocolates next week. It'll be for right. You were breaking up a bit. That's why I asked that question. I thought maybe Sandra was on the internet in the other room.
Right. No. So basically, what I want to do is, instead of having lots of these in, taking 240 volts out and just having one plugged in, pushing 12 volts out the other end, whether there's one where I can actually just have one 3-pin plug with 2 or 4 outputs on it.
Now, as you know, I'm not the electronics person.
No.
Matt might be able to jump in here, but I would say you can't do it because that will be a certain number of watts, that wall wart thing you've got in your hand, and it'll only just be able to give out enough watts to power the one of those. It'll only be enough amps to power one of those things it's plugged into. Would you agree with that, Matt?
Yeah. Depends what's written on the wall wart. What's it say output wise?
I can't read it.
No chance. No chance. It'd be too small. Even I can't read. But the thing is, does it go up exponentially? So if you've got like a 1 amp wall wart and you want to plug 4 things into it, do you have to have a 4 amp wall wart?
Depends if the device you're powering runs 1 amp. I suppose if you've got a 4 amp wall wart, yeah, that would make sense. You could run 4 times as many devices as what is it a power? Did you say it's a power supply for a fairy light set or something?
It's an inflatable Christmas thing.
Like an inflatable Father Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it runs at 12 volts. Yeah.
It was because you know the waterproof boxes. They're big enough to get 4 3-pin plugs in, but they're not
Yeah.
big enough to get 4 of these in and close the lid.
Right. Yeah. So you want to make something that obviously distributes the 12 volts to 4 different things.
Yeah.
I know how I'd do it. I'd have something like a car battery. If it is 12 volts, and there's no guarantee it is it 12 volts, Alan?
I know some of them are.
Right. Well, let's assume for now they're all 12 volts. The way I'd do it would be I'd have something like a fairly chunky car battery, like one off a Land Rover or something like that. Have that trickle charging all the time, and then just run 12 volt feeds from that battery to all your lights, because then it'll draw within reason as many amps as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it not be easiest just to have a 240 volt multi-plug and have 4 of those units?
That's what I'm saying. You can't get 4 of these in a waterproof outside box. These are too big, especially when they're all
Right.
hats. They're too big to put into box and shut the lid.
Yeah, see, idea of them is, I think, that you plug them in indoors, don't you, and then run the wire outside. That's
Yeah.
the idea. That's what it normally says on instructions of them.
Yeah. It was just whether anybody had ever seen one. What was a multi-socket, I suppose, rather than
No,
just...
because everyone will be A, different voltage, and B, a different ampage.
Fine.
I would have thought.
Alan, something I've done. We've got a camper van, and very often you end up camping on a site where you're not near the electrical point.
Mm.
Yep.
So I've actually got two of these mains leads that you stretch out, you know. What I've done, cheapskate me, I've made a joint box with a Tupperware box. Cut a hole in either end. I put my join in there, box upside down, so if it rains, rain can't get in. How about doing something like that with a multi-plug?
Yeah, I've got a box. It was just an easier way of doing it I was potentially looking for, because we have done bits like that. It's just that there's loads of them. I've got about 12 things that all need plugging in. So, going back to the train, Sandra said it was 34 wagons.
34.
34. Sounds a lot,
Still
doesn't it?
not long by American standards.
No.
It's a bit long for going through Sheffield and derailing on platform 1.
Yeah, was that what happened?
Something somewhere along those lines. Yes.
I don't know where it came off. I don't know where it happened. But I know it caused havoc, and that it made the national travel reports.
Something I was going to ask, although this is Sheffield Repair Cafe, we seem to be a bit spread out with Matt up in Northumberland, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Andy, you're down near Chesterfield, aren't you?
Yeah.
How about Anthony? Where's Anthony? Could you
Yeah, I'm
turn
in
the
Sheffield.
sound on?
I'm in Sheffield, yeah.
Oh, you right. It just seems though we were quite spread out. But yeah.
I suppose that's the nature of Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, well, I'm
when-
responsible for you, aren't I, Matt? I brought you in from the what's it, the Sunday night YouTube live,
Yeah,
didn't I? You found me on there, didn't you, with the old phones and that?
yeah.
By the way, look what I've got here.
A fortnight ago, we had
A dial. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see anything unusual about that?
Is it a brand new one that's never been issued?
Well, it may be that as well, but
No
what's
numbers
missing?
on it. No
Oh,
numbers.
The numbers. The numbers.
Yeah,
So it's-
that's an early 60s one.
yeah. No,
proper-
not even got chevrons in it.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't have from before about 1963.
Yeah.
So very unusual to find one that's got a blank on like that.
Yeah.
They've normally got those little chevrons on the dial. And
I've
that,
got with
so-
me on the bench here, I've got a GPO 706 phone, which I've actually ordered for a friend who's hard of hearing. So it's one of those hard of hearing handsets with the volume
Oh, yeah.
control on it. Unfortunately, it was dead on arrival, even though it's got a BT lead on it. And I thought, oh, I'll try and get into it. And can I get the case off? It is really, really tight. Any ideas?
Is it an 06 or a 46?
706.
It's a 706.
I've
So
taken
you
the
took the
dial
two
off.
little took the two little screws out.
Took the two little screws out. I mean, I've done loads of 706s in the past.
Right.
and
Hold it up again, Matt. Hold it up so I can see the top of it. All right. How do you get the dial out then? Oh, it's not got the dial out.
the dial, I just took the dial plate off and well,
Yeah, you've not got the back bit of it out, have
and
you?
the number of thing. No, yeah, I wanted to try and make sure that it would clear that, and it's not got anything to do with that.
Right. Hold it up again and let me see the two little plate things on the top.
Let's just
If you
try and
can.
make the light shine a bit more that way.
Right. And you got they're loose, are they? The screws are.
They're loose, yeah. The screws are loose, and I've thought all the things possible that I could think of. You know, I've taken probably 20 or 30 of these things to bits with no problem.
What's happening underneath it? Can you flip it over? Let's have a look at the bottom. Something stupid like glued it on.
It moves, but only a certain amount. Just can't get it in shot. Let me see if I just pull my screen down a bit so you can actually see it.
Yeah.
And I can't actually see. Very
Oh yeah,
well
that's
with it.
better. Yeah.
Um,
Bit of brute force and ignorance. Keep going. You're doing the right thing. What I tend to do
yeah,
is sort of put my thumb on the two grommets for the cords
oh yeah,
and then put my finger under. I'm surrounded by them. I've not got one I can get one of these. Just a sec. Right.
right, so
Right. Can you see this, Matt?
right, I've got to put my screen back up again. Yeah,
You see what I'm doing? Right. If you put your finger there, just under the case there,
yeah,
yeah, and then your thumb on top of the two grommets,
yeah.
then push down with your thumb and up with
So-
your finger. And see what happens.
Yeah. So you're pulling the case away from the chassis, so
You're
to
sort of
speak.
trying to push the case upwards with the side of your finger,
Oh yeah.
and also push the bottom with the grommets in downwards.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm wondering what you're going to find inside that when you get it apart, because what colour is it?
it's topaz yellow with a basically
blimey.
because the handsets were only available in ivory and brown. I presume at the time they issued it with whatever handset they had at the time that was nearest to the topaz yellow, because it is actually topaz yellow. I thought it was a
Are you
faded.
sure? Are you sure that's topaz yellow?
Yeah, there's the ivory. What you can see. I mean, it is very bright here with the. That's ivory.
It might be yellow, yeah.
And it's darker. I mean, it just probably with a lot of got a bit too much light here, I think now.
Yeah, well, I've got
Yeah,
some
a little
topaz
bit.
yellow ones that are actually ivory ones that have gone in the
They've
sun.
actually faded with tobacco smoke. Yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
it's because I was looking at the bottom of the case and it's the same colour at the bottom, sort of thing. And
You've just got to go for it.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it doesn't look right. Can you have a look at the dial? Show me the dial again.
Right, I've taken the spring that holds the number wheel has fallen into the phone.
Yeah, right. You see the black bit around the edge of that dial?
Yeah,
It shouldn't be raised up like that.
no,
That should be underneath.
that should be
yellow
underneath
bit
the
of
actual
case.
phone, shouldn't it? Yeah.
So I don't know how that's. I wonder if somebody's put it together the wrong way and glued it together or something stupid.
You don't know what happens, what the BT engineers were doing at the time.
You were on the right lines though. Just try and pull that case up at the back, and you're certainly on the right lines there.
Ugh, dear me. I've even tried sort of like leaving it with a screwdriver, but I don't want to damage the case.
And it won't have it.
Just won't budge. You can't even get. I was trying to get. I'd say I've taken loads of these apart, and it's
Well,
just total opposite to that other 706, which I replaced the case on. That just went.
If you do break it, I've probably got an ivory one you could have. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
try it. Definitely loose, isn't there? Definitely. Just see if they're fully out. I'm pretty sure.
I've just had a message from Jess, by the way, guys. She said, although she's not made it to the Zoom meeting, she's still fixing things.
I was almost thinking, I should get my tie leaves out my bike toolkit. Just make sure these are fully. I mean, they're actually on their captive nuts now. And they go around and. But
I wonder if you've just not quite undone it.
there's no switch there. I wonder if what they've done is they've just put a blanking plug and there's the switch there or something. They've left it. The BT engineer that put this on, because this is modern. Looks like mid-80s with the perforated earpiece. So I reckon it must have been done at that time when they were.
BT engineer will not have put that on there. That'll have been done by ANO.
Comcar. It has been to Comcar, I reckon.
It'll not have been done by them. They wouldn't put a ivory handset on a yellow phone.
No. I've had 3 of these.
It'll have been done by some private individual, possibly quite recently.
Yeah. Oh, dear me. I'm just trying gently to.
This phone doesn't have feet on the bottom, does it?
Huh?
The phone doesn't have any sort of rubber feet or anything.
It's just got the normal 4 feet.
Yeah, it has got normal 4 feet, but there's no screws under them. I can.
Oh, right.
No, that's like.
That
No,
was
it
my
is a
thought.
proper 706. It is a proper 706. It is a 706L as well, so it's not one that can become modernised. Come off!
Hey!
Hey! I'm just seeing if there's anything bent in it. But
And you've even got a wiring diagram inside there, Matt.
no, I didn't look at that. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Got the wiring diagram. I don't know what was causing it to be so blooming stiff though. But at least now I can work on the electronics now, and it's got no dial tone. The bell set works. Oh, you can see that that's really loose. So that's really tightened up. Yeah, it looks like the bell's really.
Let's have a
really
look. See what's inside it.
right. It's got no. I mean, it's got a BT lead in it, but there's no resistor and no rectifier. It's got a 1,000 ohm bell set in it. So the bell works. It's the only part of the phone that works at the moment. Could be something to do with the regulator or something like that.
Right. Has it got a regulator board in it?
It has got a regulator board in it.
Turn
Whether
the
turn it
regulator
upside down and see whether it works then.
Yeah, I always put them in so they're not doing anything.
Yeah. So if you put them in the wrong way up, so
Yeah.
that it's not operating. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
you
could
can
be
put them
that
in
the
the wrong way
ball
up, but
does
you
it.
can only do it one way around because there's a cutout in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's gone in upside down, unregulated.
Right. So put your camera down again. Let's have a look at it, and I might be able to see something. Yeah, right. That
Well, we need a
looks,
webcam really. Do you want to see what the wiring is?
yeah. Can you show me the wiring in the
Can't show you the wiring. Its colour's not brilliant. But,
pull the dial end towards you a bit, and the other end.
shall I put the?
That's somewhere there ish.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't look as though it's been wired to modern standards.
think-
Anyway.
The only thing you might need to do is put 8 and 9 together,
Yeah.
depending on. I can't quite see
Oh
what's
yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
might need to put 8 and 9 together, but then
Yeah.
I think that. Hang on. Is there something bridging 3 and 4?
1, 2, 3.
Oh
No, there's nothing bridging 3 and 4.
no, it's just
4
the way
and
the
5 and
connections
6 are
are.
bridged.
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 should be.
Yeah.
No, hang on. Yeah, that's right. 4, 5, and 6.
Normally your resistor goes across 4
And
and 5.
16, 17, 18, and 19 should be.
Yeah, they're bridged and the white's connected to that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean,
Yeah.
you put the resistor in, but now
Mm.
your line cord.
Yeah. That is the
Um,
white board, yeah.
Tell me where the colours of your line cord go. What numbers they go
Right.
to?
So the line cord. Let's just take the line cord out.
Yeah,
White
they should
goes
be.
to 18.
Sorry.
White's to 18. Red to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Green should be on 15, shouldn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's correct. Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
And what's the other colour? What we're not doing? Blue.
Blue.
That goes to the bell, doesn't it?
That should go to where you've got 4, 5, and 6 joined together.
Yeah, they are there. Yeah, yeah. Because 4 goes to the bell.
Yeah.
So the bell works. Yeah. But I noticed,
So the only thing I can think
yeah.
is because it's one that's on 8. Is there anything else coming off 8 that you can see?
Just the it just goes on its own, doesn't it? There's no other wires. It must be something on the PCB.
Yeah. Is there anything on? Are there any wires on 9?
There's nothing on 9.
Right. Take that. Is it the red one you said that's on 8?
The red one, yeah.
Right, take it off 8 and put it on 9
Yeah.
and see if that does anything.
Right. What I'll do, I'll have to go and plug it in into the phone line in the other room.
Because there's normally a jumper between 8 and 9.
There is normally, isn't there? Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure.
No, I've got
What-
some jumpers.
What they tended to do was where they had a connection coming into the terminal block and then going out, they
Yeah.
tended to come in on a different terminal to the one going out.
Yeah.
So you might find that it comes in on 8, but then there's a track and they bridge it across, and the
Yeah.
track in the PCB is actually on 9
Yeah.
because it's just the way they used to do it.
Yeah. I think I sort of like see that it looks bare, if you know what I mean, because I mean I've done so many of these phones. That maybe these screws are actually smaller than the normal ones. You might get smaller screws on over. Right, so put it on 9 and see what happens. And my wife just arrived from the shops. And then tighten them bells up, because I think that's what the problem was, you know. This belt is absolutely loose. And I think basically the dial and everything was all stuck. But if I put this in service
Right.
mode now, go and plug it in.
Is the dial back at 0? Is the dial back at rest, as they
The
call
dial's
it?
at rest, yeah. I mean, the dial's working fine.
Right, if you plug that in now,
Yeah,
you should get a dial. You should get if you
I should
plug
get a
that
dial
in
tone. Yeah,
with the switch hooks released.
yeah,
You should get a dial tone.
yeah. Okay, I'll go and plug it in and see what happens if the broadband goes down because something else wrong with it. And I'll reconnect. Let's put that back in there. Right. And I'll let you know. We've got the case off, yes. Brute force and ignorance. Yeah, my wife's just arrived back from the shops. So,
From the
anyway,
shops. Blimey.
the co-op in Belford. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Late night
But the only
co-op.
place that's open, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go and plug it in. And see if we get
Yeah,
a
give it-
dial tone.
Give it a go.
Andy, while Matt's doing that, telephone question again.
Yeah.
You remember I was messing with a candlestick telephone, which
Oh, yeah.
I got absolutely nothing out of.
Yeah.
I did show you the guts of it. And actually, when I came to put it back together, there were some little tape joints. The wires just fell out. They weren't even soldered. So I tried to put them all
Welcome to
back
India.
where they should be. I ended up with one wire bared at the end, but it had never had solder on it. And I just don't know where it was supposed to go. But anyway, basically the whole thing didn't work. But what I found curious, on the dial, there was just one contact and 2 wires. And as you dialed, it was a case of the contact came open or it closed. There was nothing else. So surely the machine can't tell what number you're dialing. It could never be made like that, surely.
It could. There's normally 5 contacts on the back of a dial. Normally, because it does other things as well as the dial. But the actual dialing, now I don't know about that because that phone you've got there is a modern phone.
Yes.
And it may not be dialing in the same way. It may be doing it using binary or something like that. So it might open and closing of the contacts.
Right.
But what normally happens on a proper one, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, let me
Yeah.
alter the view so that I can see it as well.
Yeah. You got 5 cables there for a start, which is
Right. There's your 5 cables. What normally happens when you turn it, you see that like a cogwheel thing in the middle?
yes.
Well, if you look on it, sort of, where is it here? You'll see a little round thing on it
Yeah.
that's pushing a sort of bent contact.
Mm-hmm.
and then that's pushing another contact. You can see that's actually
Yeah.
opening two
Yes, I
contacts
see it. Yes.
because of how it works. Well,
Mhm.
that's opening the contacts for your receiver and things like that. But the
Right.
one that actually does the dialing is round the other side. Now, when I turn this, watch what happens at the other side, around here somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is me putting my finger in the dial now to dial.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
see that thing flipping over,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if I was dialing a 1, I'd
Mhm.
probably stop there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, which actually 10
Yeah.
pulses. Right. When you take your finger out and let it go, and I will try and do it slowly so you can see what's happening, that goes back over.
Yes.
And because of the shape of the thing it's mounted on, can you see it pushing?
I can. Yes.
Contacts open.
That's
Yeah.
quite clever. I like that.
So what it does is it opens 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
and so on. As you go back, all the way back. If I
Yeah.
do it in real time, you'll see it do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a that you used to hear on old-fashioned telephone when you were dialing.
Mm.
And it's about 10 pulses a second it should do.
Mm.
So that opening and closing, that pulse goes down the line, and that pulse is what actually tells the exchange what number you're dialing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The
But it
contacts.
has
Sorry.
it also has to have what they call the right mate break ratio. And so this central cog thing, you see these sort of cutouts in it.
Yes. Yeah.
If the cutouts and the bits between the cutouts are equal, which they're not on this,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a 50-50 make break ratio, because that little red rubber roller thing is riding a peak for 50% of the time and in the bottom for 50% of the time. So you have to have the right make break ratio for the country that you're in and the system that you're in, and they were all different basically all over the world.
Right.
And America is different to ours slightly. So that thing in the middle is crucial. But if you do need to adjust it slightly, you can adjust it slightly by bending the contacts of the thing that that open and close here.
Yeah.
So you can get a bit of adjustment out of it that way. But that's basically how it does it. It's that wheel
Right.
in the center of there that opens and closes that one set of contacts.
You might guess there's nothing like that on this phone at all. As far as I can see, it's one straight contact, open, close. And I thought,
it maybe does something strange electronically. Some of these modern dial phones are actually doing tone dialing, but with a dial.
Right.
And the way some of them do it is behind the dial is a clear disc with a lot of black lines on it.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And there's a sensor that shines through it.
Yes.
And knows how many lines have passed it.
That will give you the counting. Yeah.
When it works out how many lines have passed it, the little silicon chip inside it, the little mini brain in it, goes, oh yeah, it's past 9 lines, I do this tone, or it's past 8 lines, I do that tone, and then it does the tones for the DTMF, the tone dialing that most phones use these days. So although that looks like a candlestick, it probably doesn't work like one.
I don't think there's anything sophisticated on it. That open close contact just seems to operate when you take it from the rest position and when it gets back to the rest position.
Oh, well, that'll be like one on the other side then. That'll be like this one here. because that's at rest, you
That's
see
your
now.
normal one. Yeah.
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 It's what they
Yeah.
call normal and off normal. When it's at rest, they call
Yeah.
it normal. And
Mhm.
when the dial's actually part way around, it's off normal.
Right.
So it'll be, you see that one that opens those two there. So it should probably be open when it's at rest, when it's at normal, and closed when it's not.
Right. So
Um,
there must be some other
Talk
electrical
about the
contact somewhere then.
receiver. Yeah.
There'll be some electrical contacts. There'll be some way of getting a signal from the dial mechanism
Mm. Yeah.
to the rest of the phone. Yeah.
When we get back in business, I'll bring it in and you can have a look and tell me.
Yeah. Matt might know. Are you back, Matt?
But yeah, the phone is dead. There's no dial tone.
Oh, right.
So-
Still no dial tone.
Still no dial tone.
The nothing at all. on it.
Nothing
have
at
you tried,
all.
have you tried calling it?
So the bell works okay. So
So
the
you've
bell
rung it?
circuit's okay. Yeah, we've rung it and the bell works. Although it's very loose. I mean, I've got obviously the screw on here is really quite loose. So I think that was the
No
problem with opening up the phone. The
Right,
whole
I'm going to say the
mechanism.
same thing that I've just said to Ian then. Is it the contacts on the back of the dial? Is it not going back to normal? Because if the dial is sitting at off normal, if those contacts are sitting closed,
Yeah,
then
I could take the
No,
dial
no.
out. Which is the
yeah, if
usual-
the contacts
Yeah.
are sitting closed, then it would be shorting across and it would be silent basically.
Yeah. Let's just have a look.
Can you hear me now?
That's all.
I can just hear you, Alan. Yeah. Not now. I can't. You muted yourself.
Sorry, I'm trying a different microphone.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I could hear you then. Yeah.
But was it quiet or as it should be?
It's still a bit on the quiet side, I think.
The dial keyboard. Hmm.
Matt's going for it. Have you got the dial out of it, Matt?
And I've got the dial out of it. Obviously, it got a dust cover on it.
Yeah, you need to get the dust cover off.
Yeah,
Little screw in the bottom.
yeah. Do it with the thumbnail.
Anthony, you're not saying much. What's your line?
I'm a joiner slash builder.
Oh,
So
of course. I'm sorry. We have met, of course.
yeah.
I do apologise.
So yeah, just been busy.
Yeah, it's a short while ago now. Were you
It
doing
is.
electronics as well still?
Sorry?
You're still doing your electronics as well?
Trying to, yeah. Run out of things to repair.
Yeah.
And kids being off gym as well. They do gymnastics.
All right.
So that's why the house looks like a gymnasium with parallel bars. Yeah.
The house looks like children live there. Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing the gymnastics over Zoom calls at the minute, so it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
How do you do gymnastics on Zoom?
The coaches come on and they do it's more strengthening and things like that.
Ah,
So, but yeah, she's got bars and she's got mats and there's one of those bars there, and so yeah.
crack,
Got
you've got to learn
more-
show jumping before you can go outside.
Yeah, pretty much. Got some wall bars upstairs as well for doing the pull-ups and various different
Crikey,
things. So yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare trying to squeeze everything in.
How many children have you got?
3 in total.
You
But
seem to have to think about that then.
well, the
Well, it
eldest
says
is-
3 in total. It sounds like it's 2 and 2 halves.
eldest is 20, He's
right.
in the army, so yeah, he doesn't live here anymore. Technically, well, he does, but he doesn't, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and it's just the two girls.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's chaotic. But yeah, wife's still working. I'm working.
Mm.
So
Right.
I'm very
Sorry.
impressed with Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo over your shoulder there.
which way? Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
If you've not seen it, go and search YouTube for the South Park Pandemic Special. It's the funniest thing I've seen in ages.
Mr. Hanky, yeah.
Is this microphone any better?
It's a bit hissy, but yeah, it's working.
Is it louder than the other one, Andy?
I believe
yes,
so, yeah.
it's louder, yeah, but it's got some noise on it, that one.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Sounds like you got a CB radio circa 1975. Breaker. Right, looks like
I
Matt's
used to have a
with it.
CB. I used to have a CB many years ago.
I was looking at
1982.
So
I was
did
looking
I.
at them on eBay today. I thought, should I buy one today? I've got a van, you see, Matt, and there's a bit above your head in the van where there should be like a storage thing, and somebody's
Oh,
cut
yeah.
a chunk out of it. The previous owner to me has cut a chunk out because obviously Binner's radio or something in there. And I
Yeah.
thought, should I get a CB radio just to cover this hole up?
Just go the whole up. Yeah. Then a big massive aerial like they used to have.
Yeah.
Right, I've got the dial up. I'm gonna try and probably put the
Oh, blimey,
finger
it's
wheel back
took the
on.
plastic bit off it as well.
Yeah, well, I took the screws out of it to see if I could actually gain access to the phone that way. So that's that was already taken off.
Oh, right,
I've
I'm with
taken
it.
the now
Right.
that the clamp's undone.
Right, let's have a
Obviously,
close look at the. Let's have a
let me
close
see
look
if
at
we
the
can get that
contacts in that.
closer. Right,
Where it'll go out of focus.
Try and
We've not
get
seen
it.
anyone.
a little bit closer. Can you see that on screen now?
I can see it, but I can't see it big enough to see what I need to see.
Right, let me just.
You know what you're looking at,
Like a
don't you? Those two contacts in there. I still won't be able to see it in high enough definition to see it, I don't think.
Right, I'm just pointing it right up to the webcam.
Yeah, right.
It'll
Right.
focus.
What you need to do, because I can't see it's too blurred for me to be able to see it when you get that close. That's
Yeah,
as
it's
close
me
you need to
wobbling
be
about.
sighted.
I'm holding it up.
What you need, Matt, is those two
Yeah.
hang on, let me do it this way.
Can you show me on that dial you've got?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
As you're
Well.
looking at this now,
we lost somebody.
the contacts that go off normal,
Yeah,
yeah. So the one that's got like a triangular shape in the contact thing.
the one on the back. They're
On the-
all on the back, aren't they? Yeah,
Yeah, they're all on the back, yeah. But
Yeah.
the one that's, as you look at it, does it reverse the picture? This, yeah, it does, doesn't it? So as you
Yeah,
look
it
at it,
does
it's
on-
on the left. Yeah, it's
Right.
on the left as you look at it. There's
so if I hold that up like
there's
that.
the
yeah.
wheel in the middle, isn't there? There's a
Yeah.
metal wheel in the middle,
And then
and
there's
then
a,
there's the funny shaped thing that touches the contacts when it gets back to normal.
yeah,
Yeah, this thing
I
here,
see that, yeah,
that thing, yeah. So when
Yeah.
it goes back round to normal,
yeah,
that should open two contacts there.
so.
Can you see what that's doing on mine?
Oh, yeah, I see, yeah, yeah,
Opening those two contacts.
yeah,
Well, my guess is those contacts are staying closed either because they're bent or because as the inner one of the two contacts is opening, it's touching on the back of the outer one, the bit that doesn't move on the outer.
right. So it looks like it's shorted out or something.
So if you can have a look at that and see if there's a problem there, because I can't see it. I can't see it in high enough definition when you get it
Yeah.
close enough to be able to
I think
see.
I'd have to get a really strong light on it and have a look and see if it's open or not. Yeah, I mean, it could be the dial's not connected up right, but
Well, that's
um,
the way the dial should be connected up with those. Can you see those on there? Hang on, let me.
so we've got orange, pink, and that one's
Orange.
called slate, isn't it? Pink, orange, pink, brown,
pink, brown.
brown, slate, and
The
blue.
pink one goes to the one that's higher up as well, because they're
Yes,
sometimes
yes.
almost in line. Orange, pink, brown, grey, and blue.
Yeah. Well, they call it slate, don't they? I don't know why.
Yeah, they call it slate grey. Yeah.
Yeah, because I suppose green would be GR in the diagram. Yeah. It looks to be okay. Certainly, when it's on normal, that middle set of contacts, the ones nearest to the center of the dial are open. Yeah.
When it's on normal.
When it's on normal, and when you close, whenever you're dialing, it closes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the two contacts between the nearest one to the center and one next to it are open as far as I can see. I mean, it's very clean in here because of the dust cover.
Yeah.
Not
you see
even
what,
getting a.
what you can do
Yeah.
also get a multimeter on those. And
Yeah,
make sure they are actually opening and closing.
yeah, put on continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
Um,
not. They've got a multimeter handle.
the other thing that can be wrong,
Yeah,
right, is in here where these screw terminals are, where
Yeah.
there's all this sort of like PCB type material.
yeah,
That is actually a massive, great big stacked up sandwich of insulating things and things that conduct, and insulating things and things that conduct. It's a massive,
Yeah.
great big stack. That is.
yeah,
And if that's been taken apart at some point and put together in the wrong order,
yeah,
which can happen, then what happens then is you've got stuff that's closed when it should be open and open when it should be closed, because
yeah,
it's the bottom end of these contacts that go into all that, you see.
yeah,
So if that's been put together wrong, what I would suggest is try it with a known good dial. Take a
Yeah.
dial out of another one.
That's
and
another
try-
phone. Yeah,
Try
Yeah,
it with
that's a good
a
idea.
known
Yeah.
good dial, and
Yeah.
see if that solves your problem. And if it does, then you definitely know it's the dial that's at fault.
yeah. And there's that guy with like all the sevens, Nigel, and all the sevens. He does dials, dial parts. It's a reasonable price.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
can do dial faults if you want to send it. I can do your dial. That's no bother.
What I will do is I will put a multimeter across the normal and see if they are actually open or not. Seeing if it's sending about the right sort of frequency. I mean, it's a bit slow, but I would say it's a bit slow, this dial. But
Yeah, they usually are. When they've not been used, they normally are slow.
Yeah.
Lubricate them a bit and
Yeah.
spin them around a bit, and they
Yeah.
ease. They often don't ease
Yeah.
up quite enough. You often have to bend the
you have to bend
legs on the governor
these
a bit.
in a bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
Well,
done a
not
few.
much.
I mean, I've done a few that have like I had a French phone come in with a very, very like almost seized up dial. I thought I wouldn't be able to get it going, but bit of dial lubrication and contact cleaning, it's fine. It had suffered a little bit with moisture ingress, you might say. The chassis was a bit rusty, but it was fine. Cleaned up okay, and works straight away.
Was that a plastic one or a Bakelite one?
It's ABS, I think. It's the S63. by
Oh,
Tele.
one of the coloured ones.
Yeah, it was actually somewhat like a Concord blue one.
Yeah.
That sort of colour. Yeah. Got a
Yeah,
nice
I
ring on it. Sounds a bit like a 500, the ring
Yeah.
on it. And yeah, it's not been sold yet, but it is on Etsy. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow probably on this is
Yeah.
if,
That's your thing for tomorrow. Check those dial contacts.
check the dial contacts. And I mean, I say it looks very clean because it has got a dust cap, and I know some of them arrive without dust caps.
Yeah. What can happen, you see, when they're opening and closing,
Yeah.
the little spark that generates can sort of
Yeah.
make them electronically dirty, and there can be a bit of a burn
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which stops some passing current through. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the favourite fault. It sounds like it's not going back onto normal, because
Yeah.
if your dial is not set back to normal, then basically
Yeah.
everything's cut off.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what I'm surprised it rang though, actually.
What if the transistor in this has gone wrong? There's a
Sorry?
transistor in here, because it's amplified handset.
Yeah.
What if the transistor's gone in here? Would that stop it working altogether?
No, I would have thought so. I would have thought you can probably take the handset off and the phone would still work.
Yeah.
I don't think anything goes through that and back to stop the phone actually.
Yeah. I don't know how there's a little transistor inside here, isn't there? A little germanium transistor. What's tended to use in these.
Yeah, you'd still be able to you'd still be able to ring and make a call on it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you tried that? Have you tried like ringing another phone somewhere with it?
I did try ringing the phone with it, yeah.
And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Hmm.
I think what I need to do, as you say, I'll get a dial from a known working phone and connect it up and see if that works. And if it's still not working, I can then say, well, is it the handset? There's a problem somewhere there, or is it connected up wrong?
Yeah, well, again, you can get a handset from a known working phone and put that on,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
to try it, and
Yeah.
then you've at least got it in a ballpark somewhere, you know, if it's in the handset.
Yeah, and it's not the PCB or something like that. Nothing looks. I mean, the thing is with any phone is that if the line has been subject to lightning, that can do some damage.
Hey, you do know. Oh, hang on. No, maybe not. I was going to say them switch ups down at the minute. No, they're not. I thought they were all stuck down, and I thought that might be it, but they're not.
No, they're not in service.
Low, but I couldn't see the black bit on.
Yeah. As soon as you press it with the service latch on, the disconnects.
I mean, again, the other thing is to check that that's doing all the right things in this stack of contacts.
Here, these contacts here, yeah.
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 It's something wrong with the contact somewhere, that is, I would say.
Yeah.
Either a contact on the dial or it's in that stack of contacts on the side of there.
Yeah. There's not really an awful lot to go wrong in these, is there? I mean, that just changes over from the bell circuit to the handset circuit, doesn't it? When it's off hook.
Yeah, but it's changing over more than one. Changing over quite a few contacts when you look in that.
Yeah, there's about
stack of contacts.
4 different contacts. I mean, obviously there's a diagram of it in here, although that looks as though it's gone a bit crusty. Half of it's missing, but yeah. I mean, you can get diagrams online anyway. But yeah, we're in the right ballpark. That it could be either dial off normal contact, not disconnecting and shorting out everything, or it could be the switch here.
Yeah. The
You
other
ever had
thing
to
you
change
could,
one of them before?
um,
Have you
the,
you changed one of these before?
the
I mean, the
the
mouse.
switch on the hook switch.
Yeah,
No, I've never had to change one.
no.
I
When
don't
they
think it's,
designed them, I think when
I
they
don't think,
designed them pretty well.
yeah. I've never had to change one, but I've certainly had to mess about with the dial contacts before.
Yeah, yeah,
That phone's been messed with. That you've got.
yeah. I reckon it has. Yeah,
Somebody has definitely messed with that, and I wouldn't put it beyond it being that stack of insulators and bottom of the contacts, that stack that's been put together in the wrong order. Because if you
yeah,
take that stack apart, it is
yeah,
so easy to put it back together in the wrong order. I've done it
yeah,
many times.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's the
um,
thing I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to get another phone that I haven't got on sale, and I'll take the dial out of it and try it in this phone. And then if that works, we know it's the dial contact. We've ruled out the regulator because that's in the unregulated mode at the moment.
yeah.
Is it quite often the bulb that goes in these?
I don't have any problem with them at all generally.
No. I
Um,
normally, yeah, normally I do in regulated mode. I normally go out with regulated mode, but is it supposed if you have it unregulated and it's a loud line, is that the idea of it? It just turns the volume down a bit or something. Is that what the idea of the regulator is?
yes, I think it is. Yeah, I was just trying to work out if it turns the volume down, if it amplifies it, but I think it turns it down. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
So
the
in a
idea.
way, in regulated mode, it's actually defeating the object of this handset.
Yes,
Being an amplified handset.
yeah. Yeah,
They're
yeah,
probably
it
the
is, yeah.
best to put it in upside down. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I always put them in upside down so they're not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just always do that.
Yeah.
Personally, but I don't. That's probably why I don't have any trouble with them, because I effectively take them out of the circuit.
Yeah.
I put them the other way around.
I know I've heard about people saying about the bulbs lighting up inside red ones in the early days when they weren't painted black.
Yeah. Oh, my phone's on fire. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously,
Yeah.
if it's not in circuit, it won't light up. But yeah. Yeah.
I've got a handset somewhere that's got one of those volume controls on it, like yours has.
Yeah.
And it's got the neon light in it as well.
Oh wow! So you got both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You normally get either one or the other,
Yeah.
which are quite rare. Both quite rare, which I've
Yeah.
only both in.
Yeah. That is extremely rare. Yeah.
God knows how they got it all, stuffed it all up inside the handset.
Yeah, because you've got a transistor in there. There's a little
Yeah.
PCB inside. I've only had one of these apart once because there was some sort of fault on it. I think the pot was faulty actually. I
Yeah,
wanted to clean that.
they are very prone to the contacts furring up. You have to put some contact cleaner in where the black sort of knurled wheel is that you turn for the up and
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
There's a contact actually inside that, and they're very prone to not making contact. You have to
Yeah.
put contact cleaner in.
It might be another source of the fault. The pot.
Yeah, the
If
pot.
there's no sound at all, would the pot actually you see the pot?
Oh, that looks different. Oh, I've seen that little circuit board in there.
Oh yeah,
I think there's 2 or 3 different versions of them.
there is. Yeah, I think there's some that require a battery. seem to remember. Yeah, that's... Oh yeah, there's a PCB in there.
Yeah, I think the actual wheel that you turn is mounted to that PCB, and it's as simple as a wiper on the wheel that you turn, wiping
It is,
against
yeah, yeah. It's like
wiping
an old.
against the actual PCB.
It's not like an old radio, you know.
Yeah.
There's the. Let's just try and get it up to the camera.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah,
You got it.
yeah.
There's the knob. Yeah, just
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it is different actually. I've only just taken this handset apart. The receivers are standard. Year 83, the receiver is. So.
Yeah.
and I
The
think
other thing to do while you get a multimeter on your dial and that tomorrow, if that doesn't fix it,
Yeah,
the other
Yeah.
thing to do is test the line cord as well.
yeah,
It
There's
don't matter
nobody
about the green
called
one, because the
wire.
green one won't do anything. But certainly, I think the blue one will be working because it dials. But certainly test the red one and the white one for continuity.
yeah.
Because what sort of cord is it that it's on? Is it a round cord?
I think it's just a standard Dolphin Grey one that they fitted in the early 80s.
Oh right.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that should probably be all right. Some people put
Yeah.
those plugs on the round cords and they don't
Yeah.
fit on very well, and they often
don't
don't
fit
make
on very
contact.
well. Yeah, it's a flat cord.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it looks to
probably
be all right. In better condition than some of the line cords I've had.
yeah. Just
Um,
check it for continuity from one end to the other. From the
Yeah,
phone to the little
So
things
you-
on there,
yeah, just
because
bleep
I
them
have had
out.
them
Yeah,
get problems. If
Yeah.
somebody's put a new plug on it and they've not quite crimped it on right,
that's right. Yeah, plug looks quite old actually. I don't know how long this phone's been like this with what, but 83 obviously. Receiver was replaced, and it's got this
Something you said
new.
last week.
I don't
Andy.
think it was. I think the receiver's been replaced since '83. I
Yeah.
think the receiver's been replaced since 2013.
Do you reckon somebody's had a go at this?
Somebody's had a go at that. Yeah, definitely.
No, I'm going to. I really want to. Somebody's asked them to make a loudspeaking phone.
BT, basically, and their predecessors would never have put two different coloured parts together. It's not
No.
in spec. With
No.
BT and Telecom before and the GPO, spec is everything, and
Yeah.
that would not be in spec.
No.
It's like when you see all these phones that have got different coloured bits on them and that.
Oh yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not in spec.
Yeah.
Anyway, they would never have done it. Somebody's done it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's
got
been
another
inside
one.
that, definitely. I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. So you never know what's happened to it. It probably is somebody's requested that they want. They've probably got a Topaz phone that they've had for years, and they're a bit hard of hearing. And somebody said, "Can you change it to a loudspeaker type?" And they've gone and
Possibly.
bought the handset.
Or
And
or
or it could be
somebody
a guy himself.
bits.
It could be the previous owner himself.
Yeah.
That's why he paid a tenner for it. But
Yeah,
obviously these
you
bells
see,
and-
somebody could have built it out of bits. They could have had a load of bits kicking around and
yeah,
gone, oh, well, we can't sell these bits, but if we knock it together into a phone,
her
then
phone, yeah.
then we'll sell it.
You
We'll
never
sell
know.
it as not working, so we don't have to test it. So it may never have worked, that combination of parts.
Yeah, I mean there might be some nothing else likely other than mechanical parts. I mean the capacitors are pretty reliable, and the induction coils are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, generally.
I could have a look and see if there's any open circuit tracks on the PCB, I suppose.
Yeah, that I've never had the problem, but I have found them with wires on before, where there's obviously been a problem
Yeah.
and they've had to put a wire on them.
I've seen them with wire. Yeah, where they've wired the dial straight into the terminal
Yeah,
rather than through the PCB. You know, I had a few like that.
yeah.
Both
I don't think there's much wrong with it, but
No,
my guess is the
no.
contact.
yeah. As to the fact that it was so hard to get off, it's probably because these bells were loose and everything else was loose around it. So the dial mechanism was sitting too high in the phone.
Yeah, the dial's probably sitting in the wrong place. It
Yeah.
didn't look. Has it got this little hook bit in? Has it got? Because sometimes that bit goes astray, and the bit that
What's that?
clips onto, that's the bit that holds the dial on. It's that way up.
Well, all I've got is a plastic round thing.
Yeah, but what does it
Um,
sit to at the top? Where it sits up against sort of the frame that's got the hook switches on.
Oh
What
yeah,
does it? Oh no, it's not got it. I can see it's not got it.
there's it. No, it's just a standard.
No, the bit on the deck in front of you, Matt. The main bit of the phone there. That.
Oh yeah, yeah. That bit there,
Yeah. What fits onto that?
just the dial.
Just
I mean,
interrupt
we've
you,
got-
gents. Just, I've got to say good night. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
See you again.
Right, Ian.
Good luck with that, Matt.
yeah. Cheerio.
Yeah.
Right,
Bye.
Ian.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you next week.
See ya. Yeah, it looks like whether that notch there is the switch, I presume. And then your dial just fits on that hook bit. So the one that's angled a bit. Right,
Why do
so.
I never pick up the right phone?
That would normally go there, and that would normally go in there like that with the dial in it.
Yeah, you might have got a bit missing though there. That might be.
You're
why
thinking
it's
it might be on there instead.
might be a. Let's have a close look at. I want a close look at the top of that dial ring. That
This?
you got in your right hand there. Yeah, that. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Twist it over. Right. That screw that's unscrewed at the top on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should fit into a little hook like this. So have you got this hook on the main bit of the phone?
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. It's that one there.
Oh, that's different. That's different. Yeah. That is different. That's not like this.
Who's it made by? PXA. I think that's
Might be on the top of a 747,
Yeah.
isn't it? Never got one in my hand when I
made by Phoenix, I think. PXA, isn't it?
I don't know. I can never remember. Right. Oh, there's one under there. Right. Oh, and it might conveniently only have one screw in as well. Just a sec.
Hopefully it's not one that's
telephone
got a different
repairs.
case.
Yeah, right. This one, I'll let you have a look at what we're doing.
You say it might have been a mixture of phones. It could be like an Ericsson M1900 bracket or something in a 706.
I'm just wondering. I just can't remember off the top of my head what they're like. Oh no, mine's like yours. So that bit must have been off a. That bit must be off a 746 then, not a 706, because mine is. exactly the same as yours, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Is that a PXA one? What is it? Who makes it?
PLA.
PLA.
I think that's Plessy,
That's
isn't it?
Plessy, isn't it? Yeah. I've had a
Uh,
few Plessy ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is PXA. I think it's. I don't know whether it's another Plessy factory or is it Phoenix or
I
something
think
like
it
that.
is actually.
Yeah.
You see, this is a 65. It says this underneath.
Yeah. This is 64, I think.
But you just never quite know. But they, hang on. Yeah, that's an unconverted one.
Yeah.
That because when you convert it, basically you take that jumper off there and put it on
Yeah.
there.
Put it on
So
there.
there's
Yeah.
one without a jumper between the jumpered ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although it has been converted at the bottom here. Look, somebody's put them four together.
Yeah.
That's been half done, sort of thing. That one.
So they've got the four together. So I'm sure this phone has worked at some time with a modern cord. It's just that it don't work now.
Well, you don't know if it has or not, or if somebody's just put it together for a modern
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
and never tried it.
Never tried it. No.
You know, just to flog it on eBay, sort of thing, or wherever you got it from.
You can probably find somewhere it says BBC Props Department or something on the back.
Yeah, it could be something like that. Yeah, that's a good call.
They'll make
Actually,
it look real and that. Yeah.
that's a very good.
What do the resistors do? What are they for? There's two resistors, R1 and R2.
No idea. I don't normally have to go that sort of deeply into them.
No.
As a general rule.
Generally, 99% of the phones that I've had, even ones that have been really not very nice condition, they've all worked. Now this one was a bit of a basket case. Hopefully it will work though, because the design is very good on these, isn't it? They're designed to work.
Oh, it'll work. It's just it'll be some very small thing that's wrong with it.
Yeah.
And when you find that very small thing, it'll be fine. But it's finding it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the hard
the
part.
obvious things is obviously multimeter in between the line, plug, and cord. Seeing if there's anything on the receiver. Swapping the receivers.
Yeah.
Just a matter of getting, because I've got another phone. It's actually another one. It's a Topaz case with a handset like this. One of the very first phones I actually bought, and that's fine. Whether it's by the same chap, but I think that's no, it was a Mark II, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that was a Mark II as well. But the handset is different to the one on 002, I think it is. PH0.2. This one's PH072. Shows you how many phones I've had to. Yeah.
You see, it's very hard. It's very hard to tell what's what because bits are so interchangeable.
Yeah.
That it's almost impossible to work out what's original.
Yeah. It's the strength of the design that's possible, though, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's the strength of the design that makes that possible.
Yeah.
You had all these factories where these phones were produced, and obviously they had to be repairable by anybody with the standard parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said before, I've got no idea how copyright used to work and stuff like that.
I don't know how they did it. I mean, the thing is, I suppose it was a nationalised industry, wasn't it? And they were just given the contract. You build 5,000 phones or whatever. And 3,000 of them in elephant grey and 2,000 of them in Concord blue, and that's
Yeah,
about it really.
yeah. By the way, have you seen the weird wall phone on eBay at the minute?
The weird. Oh, there was a weird phone on there. I don't know whether they've
A
actually.
weird grey wall phone.
Oh yeah, wasn't it an Italian one or something?
No, it's a British one,
Yeah.
made by ATE,
Oh yeah.
and it's an oddball one. The bloke who's selling it says he can't find it on any lists or anything.
Yeah.
He's had it for about 40 years.
Yeah.
Never seen another one,
Yeah.
and it's got a standard handset on it.
Yeah.
It's got a standard dial on it,
Yeah.
two-tone grey, but the
Yeah.
case for it that goes on the wall is a totally different shape to
Really.
anything you've ever seen before. And I
Hmm.
think it might be a prototype for a
741. Yeah. Yeah.
because various companies made their idea of what a wall phone should be for the
Yeah.
post office to pick from.
Yeah.
And
They did trial runs like. Yeah.
ATE was certainly one of the ones who made one, and I've
Yeah.
never seen a picture of what ATE suggested. I've never seen a picture of their prototype.
No.
So I'm wondering if it is indeed that prototype.
Yeah.
Well, the pricing on it will go silly. It finishes,
Oh, yeah.
believe it or not, at 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah. Mate.
Bang on 6 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah.
So if the Sunday live stream's a couple of minutes late, you don't want that.
Yeah. That does sound, but I mean, occasionally I have seen some very unusual phones that 90% of it is a 746, and the molding looks slightly different. And I'm thinking they've gone to go for it, and it's gone sort of like off the charts in terms of how much people are paying for them when they realise it's a rare prototype phone.
Yeah.
They did the same with the trim phone, didn't they? And with ATE again, they made all the trim phones.
Yeah.
Automated telecom.
Trim phones are a thing. Are a thing on their own, because there's basically two sorts of trim phone, isn't there? There's a 712 and a 722, is it?
722. I don't know how the push button ones go.
Yeah, and then there's the push button ones on top of that.
We have the DTMF one and the Pulse version one.
Yeah. And the DTMF and the Pulse push button one. The Pulse push button ones are bloody awful. Something happens. I've never figured it out. Something happens to them and they die after a while, and you can't get them going again. And I don't know what it is that happens to those pulse dialing push button ones.
Yeah.
But I sold one in Antique Centre, and it came back because it died, and there was nothing I could do to get it going. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it.
It's usually probably a capacitor or something like that that's gone dried out.
I don't know what it was, because there was a hell of a circuit board inside it.
Yeah.
On the back of the keypad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so complicated inside they are. And then of course there's all these fake ones now, these Wild and Wolf ones and that. And some of them, to look at them, are really good.
Yeah.
You know, you have to really concentrate in order not to buy one of those.
Yeah.
So
the trim phones in particular look very similar, don't they? The particularly the DTMF ones.
Yeah.
And they've got very identical ring sound and everything. They've managed to. As I say, the trim phone really has been in production since 1965 continuously as a product. Almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But the proper ones, the
proper DPO ones, ones
that went up to the sort of mid 80s ish.
Yeah.
If you get the coloured ones, the ones that went back to the factory.
Yeah.
And then came out with what do they call them? These Phoenix phones, don't they?
The Snowden edition or something.
Snowden, that's it.
Yeah.
The Snowden edition. They
Yeah.
fetch crazy money.
Yeah.
They do.
Mm.
Particularly the orange one and the sort of cyan one. The cyan one,
Yeah.
phenomenal the money the cyan one fetches.
Dear me. Yeah. And that's why most of the wild and wolf ones are cyan.
Ah,
The
yeah.
one, yeah, most of the wild and wolf copies of the trim phone are cyan ones.
Yeah. I personally like the black and grey one. And I did have a black and grey one. I've still got
Yeah.
a black and grey one.
They never had one in so far. I mean, it's just a plain old grey one, but it was very nice.
No,
The
I've
lady
got-
loved it when she got it.
I've got a red one and I've got a brown and cream one with push buttons on.
Yeah.
But I've not got a black and grey one. Somebody bought a black and grey one. I do particularly like the black and grey one. I think that's a good
Yeah,
colour
it's
scheme.
quite nice,
Never-
yeah.
Never
that
quite
really-
decided if it is actually black or if it's a dark blue.
Yeah, is that the handset that's black?
No, the
And
handset's grey.
Well, the handset's grey.
Case
And
of the case of the phone is a very dark. I never decided if it's black or if it's dark blue in the way those Jubilees are dark blue. That look
yeah,
black.
yeah. I think the thing is with the trim phone, it was the opposite way round colour-wise to the two-tone of the 746s, for example. They were the lighter colour handset,
The handset
and
were
darker
lighter, yeah.
coloured. I don't know whether you've seen any. Have you ever seen any 700 series all the same colour grey?
No, they're fake.
Yeah,
They're fake.
yeah,
They're either new phones made
Yeah.
by somebody like Gmark,
yeah,
or their original chassis that somebody's put a new body on. Our friends at Britphone or somebody will have been involved.
yeah,
and-
yeah.
yeah. Don't touch it with a barge pole if it's all grey. It's not right.
Mm, Yeah.
It's all the same colour grey, and equally
Yeah.
all the same colour green as well. That happens.
yeah. I've seen a few
Yeah.
of them.
You get all the same colour green, unless it's bottle green.
Yeah, but that would be a Concord blue that's faded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People list them as bottle green, and they're
Yeah.
just Concord blue ones that have got a suntan. So,
There was a
so they're all
706
right because
like
you can
that
de-suntan those.
Yeah, yeah. There was a 706 actually on eBay going for about 14 quid. It was definitely a suntanned Concord blue.
Yeah.
You see when
They're-
the
they're-
handset.
I've been told, but I don't know how true it is, that Concord blue is the rarest colour.
Yeah. Well, I've sold about 5 of them in the time
Yeah.
I've been trading.
Yeah, I don't think Concord blue is the rarest colour. I think the rarest colour is topaz yellow, personally.
Yeah, I've seen the least number of topaz yellow ones. I've only sold one topaz yellow one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see many. How many have I got here?
Yeah.
1, 2.
And I've never
3,
seen a
4.
706 with a topaz before.
I've got 6 here.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've got any more in the box anyway, but the 6 here out that are topaz.
the black ones can be quite rare actually. Although I've sold 4 black phones altogether. 746s in black tend to be a bit rarer. The 706s in black tend to be quite. Fairly
706 in black's a bit unusual. 746 in black, sorry, is a bit unusual. 706 in black
Yeah,
is fairly common.
and of course the N1900 series as well, black. Although
Yeah, black.
looking at the Ericsson and GEC, sort of like the information that's available on them, it looks like Ericsson and GEC did the private phones in all the same colours, including Concord blue and topaz. So sometimes you see private ones in that colour as well. But most of them are elephant grey or black.
Yeah, they only did private ones in the same colours as the GPO ones,
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware. They
yeah,
never did a different colour for anybody. Whenever you see a
No.
weird colour, it's a new case that's been put on,
new case, yeah.
either by
Right.
Britphone or by a guy down in a place called Chatris in Cambridgeshire, who
Yeah.
used to make cases.
Yeah,
But he
Has he
shut
got-
down some time ago. He
Yeah.
was responsible for a lot of pink ones.
yeah. Oh, I've seen a
And-
few pink ones. Yeah.
And there's people who paint them as well.
There is actually, and they do all sorts of weird things with them as well. I mean, there was a 746 a few months ago being glitter painted or something like that, and I thought, really? It just said red phone for sale, and I looked a bit closer, and it looked like it'd been sprayed with like red metallic glitter paint.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
the all sorts of things people do. And
Yeah,
yeah, I spend a lot of time taking strange things off and taking light
Yeah.
fittings out of candlesticks and things like that. So
well,
yeah,
there seems to be a bloke that's actually turning 746 phones into lights, and they're selling for about 60 quid.
tell you a story about him.
Oh yeah,
Him or one of his cohorts rocked up at the Industrial Museum in Sheffield 2 or 3 Christmases ago,
oh yeah,
where me and Alan that's on here sometimes,
Yeah.
we had a stand for the Sheffield Collectors Club, which is basically a club for people who just collect anything.
Yeah.
We've got a guy who collects model live steam engines, you know, the Mammoth steam engines.
Oh, the old Mammoth ones, yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy who collects them, and Alan has been on here earlier. He collects memory sticks, you know, USB memory
Memory
sticks,
sticks.
novelty memory sticks, and
Yeah,
that from all over the
Mm.
world, hundreds of them.
I keep losing them. I do. Hopefully one day I'll find one that's got bitcoins on it. Yeah,
Yeah. So we had this display at this industrial museum on Christmas when they had their big Christmas event. They have a big Christmas market and that, and in the market there was a guy selling these telephones that he'd put light bulbs in somehow.
yeah.
And
I've seen
And
them.
I don't think he sold a one all weekend.
Mm,
Don't think he sold a single one.
no.
I went down to see him because somebody said there's a bloke down there saying telephones turn into light bulbs in that tent down there. So I went down to see him, and he was sat there. And he says, "Do you want to buy one?" Because he saw me looking at him. I went, "No, not really. Sorry." He said, "No, nobody wants to buy them." He said, "Something like, do you think I've got wrong prices on them? I think you've got about 70, 80, 90 quid on these phones."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I think they're about right price." I said, "Problem is, some idiots put a light bulb in them."
Yeah.
I said it'd have been worth that if you'd left it as a telephone.
Yeah.
So he was a bit dejected, sort of thing.
Mm.
But I don't see the point in it. What's the point?
I can't see the point in it any more than turning your light into a phone would be any good, you know.
Well, I have considered having a go at doing that just for a laugh.
Yeah.
Try and turn the light in, you know, do it the other way around.
Turn it
Yeah,
into a candlestick phone. Yeah.
Yeah, I have wondered about possibly doing that. See if I can reverse it. But yeah,
M4 PCB in the base. Yeah.
it's that daft woman that comes on the telly in an afternoon. That Sarah, what's her name, woman that where she goes around all the council dumps and
Yeah.
gets stuff. And what stupid thing did you do? Oh, somebody took a big vice to a council
Oh
tip.
yeah.
Massive, great big record vice. You know,
Yeah.
sort of easily 100 quid's worth of vice.
Mm.
And she gets it off this bloke who's about to dump it out at the back of his car, takes it to this so-called upcycler artist type bloke. He made a bloody wall light out of it.
A wall light out of a
A
vice.
wall light.
Dear
Well, I
me.
even hang that on your wall.
Well, that's 30 kilos
You'd
of
bolt through
iron.
it to next door, wouldn't you? So, well, yeah, made a wall light out of it. But the point is, 100 quid's worth of vice. You might
Yeah,
as well have sold it as a vice.
the vice. Yeah, yeah.
So I don't see the point in that. Leave things as what they are supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like the idea I've got with TVs. I want them still to be TVs and capable of, picking up a TV signal or a picture of some sort, but not turn them into like a fish tank or something like that.
Cocktail
People do.
cabinet, yeah. That's what they used to do
Yeah.
with doors on. Let them tell you out and turn them into a cocktail cabinet. But,
Yeah. And then
Well,
they get rid of the electronics, and it's really hard now to find certain eras of electronics because they lobbed the electronics out, like it's so
yeah,
I find it more fascinating. Rather have like a display with a TV chassis in it or something in a perspex box if it was interesting, like you could have like a big dome or. I've seen them where they've done them in the past, where they've got TVs in like a dome, like a chassis of a TV in a dome. And it's all obviously a modern set, but the old CRT type thing. And it
Yeah.
looks really good,
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a talking point as well as something that works,
Hey, you any good with
Um,
CRTs?
I know a little bit about them. What have you got with a CRT then?
I've got a Sony Trinitron circa
Yeah,
early 80s.
yeah,
It came from Museum Sheffield.
Sheffield Museum. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, they're actually called Museum Sheffield as a group. It's 2 or 3 different museums in Sheffield, and they were just before all this coronavirus stuff kicked off in March. They were just about to launch a new exhibition, and part of this exhibition they were building a like 1970s tower block flat apartment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you could go in and see what it was like to live in a 1970s tower block.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had this idea that they were going to run a little film of old Sheffield.
Yeah.
And they wanted to display it in a mock-up TV sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then somebody that I know, he got involved with them because he does a lot of video transfer work for them, transferring old film to video. And he said, well, why don't you do it on a proper old TV? So they got this TV and of course it don't work. So it came to me to try and get it working. It's just got the faintest traces of a very snowy picture.
Yeah.
If you put an input into it, like a video input or something, or we did it off a Raspberry Pi actually. You can, if you know what's on the picture, you can see it's there.
You can see it's there,
know what the picture's supposed to be. You can see it's there in the snow, and that's all it's got. But beyond that, I'm snookered. It came to me to get.
It sounds like a.
Work with it.
Yeah, it does sound like a tune or IF problem, doesn't it? It's not one with a SCART. Obviously, it's older than SCART, isn't it?
Oh no, it's way before SCART. Yeah.
Some of those Trinitrons did have like these camera connections on them for Sony Handycams and stuff like that, but they're a weird connector.
It's a very early Trinitron, I think. I don't think it's got anything like that on it. I think it's on the verge of before people started having these big video cameras they put on the shoulder. I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that needs a coat. That needs a coat of looking at.
And you tried the device that that you record your playback device on another TV to see if it works.
Yeah, that's all fine. Yeah, the thing that's
Yeah.
playing it back, it's a Raspberry Pi. It's just playing files back, and then there's a
Yeah,
converter
and then
that goes
goes
through the
through a
Raspberry Pi
modulator.
to turn it into, yeah, like a
Yeah.
modulator to turn it into RF to
Yeah, yeah.
tune the TV into it.
It's all right
Um,
because I watch Shango quite a bit on Shango 66 on his channel. He does TV
Shango?
repairs. Shango, yeah. Shango
Yeah.
066. So if you type that into YouTube, you'll see loads and
Shango
loads
what,
and loads
sorry?
of TV. Shango 066.
Shango
Yeah, number
066.
066. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, he does loads of like videos on particularly American. Well, he's American. He's based in Los Angeles.
yeah.
And he sits and repairs these TVs outside in the sun.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen him. Yeah,
He's quite eccentric sort of guy, but he's certainly very knowledgeable on Trinitron stuff.
yeah. He comes out with
Probably worth contacting.
all sorts of well technical speak that goes whoosh over the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's quite handy with when he's doing a diagnosis on an old TV. I mean, he goes basically. He's been to sort of like old abandoned mining villages and places like that where they find these TVs that haven't been operated for 30 odd years,
yeah,
and he gets them going again.
Yeah.
Very interesting to watch because I mean, you think with modern technology, I was thinking, an LCD wouldn't last five minutes out in the. If you've got this TV, like an old black and white TV, it's been in this mining village from 1968,
yeah,
and then about 1975, it ended up being sat in this field in the middle of the desert for 45 odd years. He said, I'm going to get this one going. And it was full of rat poo and all sorts of things. And it had been rained on, it had been baked in the Los Angeles sun, 40 odd degrees. And he
Yeah.
got it going.
yeah.
And all that was wrong
Yeah.
with it, one
I
valve.
think I've seen the trouble with him is his videos are quite long. I seem to remember.
They are, yes.
And I normally start watching it when I've walked the dog about 10:30 at night, and then when I wake up again
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's finished.
Yeah, he does. He's quite. He does do quite. My wife said, "Oh, you're watching the Shango video. I'll go bed. Meet me in bed when whatever,
Yeah.
So, but generally they're quite educational. He's also quite contactable as well. You can write to him. I've written to him a couple of times for advice.
Yeah.
And
Americans are quite good like that.
yeah. And of course, on Trinitron stuff, the Trinitron system is very different from the standard Shadow Mask tube. It's more like a mono tube
Yeah.
in its operation. There's only one gun, which is why the neck on the Trinitron tube is so narrow compared to the typical Delta gun type sets of the
Yeah.
early 70s. But yeah, I can't remember how it indexes the colours now, but there's programs on the Trinitron system out
think
there
it's a
that
Trinitron
show you how it
system.
all works. But it's up until LCD panels, and some people even today will say that the Trinitron system is still the best picture. Even today, if you can get a Trinitron
Yeah.
high resolution monitor, it's better
Yeah,
than
well-
any LCD or anything.
Well, I once spoke to a bloke who worked in television around
Yeah.
about that time, sort of mid-70s to mid-80s-ish.
Yeah,
And he said they had a problem because all their monitor equipment that they had to watch programs back on was Sony.
Yeah.
It was all Sony equipment.
Yeah.
And he said when Trinitron came out, Sony switched to Trinitron.
Yeah.
So all their monitors were Trinitron monitors,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
He said, and we used to get complaints from the public when our material went out on a TV channel that
Yeah.
basically the picture was crap.
Mm.
And the problem was the picture was crap, but these Trinitron monitors were so good at sorting it out. It
Yeah.
looked okay to them, but
Yeah.
when you looked at it on an ordinary TV, it was terrible. So he had this sort of crappy old sort of early 70s like
Cool, 1500 type thing. Yeah.
TV out of Rumblos in his office
Yeah.
that he used to, when they got the master tapes and that, he used to play the master tapes through this TV to see what they looked like.
All right.
in the
Yeah.
real world. Yeah.
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 So, yeah, there were, even till like the late noughties, there were, yeah, you talk to people in the imaging industry and they say Trinitron is better than any LCD or plasma or anything like that. And there are still people in the games, in the gaming industry that will say that you can't beat it.
Yeah. There's something wrong with I can remember when I first saw it wouldn't have been a plasma, I don't think. It must have been an LCD TV image. I can remember thinking it didn't all seem to move together.
No.
Somehow, you know, like part of the picture was like certain colours in the picture move. You know, like if you turn your head, it's
Yeah.
like the light bits move before the dark bits of your face or something like that. It didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
I can't quite put my finger on exactly what it was doing, but you could see when you first saw it that it was doing something odd, but you very quickly got used to it and didn't see it anymore.
Yeah. That's because the processors in early TVs weren't that powerful, and it's all down to the processing speed, you know. And even these OLED things that are coming out of advertising, I watched one the other day and I thought, it's only doing about 15 frames a second, because that's as fast as he's processing 4,000 line video at something like 15 frames a second rather than 50 or 60. And so you do see when it's still, when you got like just a static image, it looks absolutely fantastic.
Well,
you're getting like
So do you watch a guy called Techmoan on YouTube?
Yes, I've seen him. Yes.
Have you seen the one he did about digital radio?
Yes.
And it turns out digital radio is often mono and generally terrible. when you work it out. But there's something.
The situation we had at my old workplace is people buying all these DAB radios and finding they're not working half the time, and they stick it on the analog channel because they've got digital and analog FM. And analog FM sounds fine, and the digital goes intermittent. It's either there or not there.
I'll tell you, when we do the actual physical repair cafes where people bring stuff in to be fixed and that, the number of digital radios we get in is phenomenal. There's certain things that we get that people bring in to be mended where you would never ever buy one.
Yeah.
Because we see thousands and thousands and thousands of them always failed, broke. One is stick blenders. Little stick blenders.
Oh yeah, we've got one. Yeah. It still works at the moment, but
I give it time. One is them.
Yeah.
Because there's a little plastic.
The little micro switch goes in the rubber bit
that shears off.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can't do anything with it. You have to throw it away because it's a sealed unit. And the other
Yeah.
one is digital radios, and more
Yeah.
specifically, Roberts digital radios.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody comes in and goes, "We bought this Roberts radio because we thought Roberts radios were good, but ours has gone wrong."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I take great pleasure in normally taking it off them and going, "Right, can you just bear with us sort of half an hour?" And then I go and put it in a stack of 6 other Roberts digital radios.
Yeah. Eh,
Because they are absolutely crap Roberts radios these days.
Yeah.
From what we see, from the evidence that we
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
And I now
I mean, I
tell
often
people,
think, what's inside the modern like LCD TV, and you see them open them up on Shango did one.
"Oh, we've opened them
And
up,
the power
we've been
supplies
open."
aren't big enough for them. So it's the power supplies that usually go in them.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing in there, is there? There's a board about yay big with a power supply on it.
Yeah.
And another little tiny board that is the workings of the telly.
The processor.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing. And the rest
That's
of it is just like a sheet of something, a sheet of
LCDs,
plastic
yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
and the LCD and the light, the big light.
Yeah. Mm.
And
The lights often go on as well.
Yeah, we
I don't know
normally
how many
find-
LCD monitors they replace at work, but they used to go frequently. The lights in the LCD monitors,
Yeah,
and when they were sort of compact, when they were cold cathode fluorescent, and half the screen would just go off. Another problem with them, in the early days, the resolution wasn't brilliant, and you got SVGA going into it, and you couldn't see horizontal lines in spreadsheets and things like that. And the horizontal lines would just disappear.
yeah,
And it was just down to the fact that they just hadn't got enough resolution.
yeah. Well,
And
this is the thing with blooming digital TV as well. Going
Yeah.
back to digital TV. God
Yeah.
knows what actual bandwidth it comes in at, but
Yeah.
I suspect it's not very much.
No.
But particularly on some of the multiplexers, they come down in a multiplex,
Yeah,
about
yeah,
half a dozen channels in one multiplex. Well, the multiplex that, I don't know who owns it, but shall we say it carries most of Channel 5.
Yeah.
It carries like 5 and 5 Star and 5 USA or whatever it is. That
Yeah.
multiplex is terrible. That is.
Yeah.
Because if you get
Yeah,
a
the one-
picture where everything's moving, if you get a picture with the sea on it,
Yeah.
ITV used to have a graphic, ITV's This Morning,
Yeah.
that used to come from Albert Dock in Liverpool.
Yeah.
They have a graphic that was like a blue background with like a water ripple effect.
Oh
And
yeah.
then they put captions over it, coming
Yeah.
up 10 o'clock, 10:30, blah, 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 throughout the show. And
Yeah.
the graphic, because like every pixel was moving,
Yeah.
every pixel in every frame was changing because it was like a ripply water effect. It
Yeah.
just like froze solid most of the time. It was terrible.
Yeah.
They-
Yeah.
they weren't sending enough bandwidth to be able to do it, or your TV couldn't decode that amount of stuff in every
Yeah.
frame.
It's what people are telling me with the HD and 4000 line video. Apart from the fact that also they're trying to transmit this down broadband lines as well. So we've got very little broadband infrastructure here. And when we first went into lockdown, everybody was on their Rokus and their sort of like their 4K TVs and whatever online, watching Netflix and iPlayer, and we had no internet. We couldn't get anything.
Yeah,
And it was down to the fact that everyone in the village was going 4K. And I said to myself, because I went down to like PC World, Curious PC World, have a look at a 4K TV and see what the difference is. And unless you right up close to it, you cannot really tell. because your eyes are only about 3K anyway.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I've always said this about iDef TV. I
mm,
say it even now about ordinary, what is it, 1080 and
yeah,
standard definition TV. Unless you've got a massive TV. I know people
Yeah.
do have massive TVs.
a
these days.
projector.
Yeah, unless you've got a really ridiculously big TV hung on the wall instead of
Yeah,
wallpaper on the
yeah.
wall.
Mm,
It makes no difference.
yeah,
It makes no difference at all. And half the
Yeah.
programs that are on are still made in standard definition anyway. So
yeah, the all 625 line video. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so
Unless you've got a massive projector screen, you know, like a 10-foot screen.
you got to have a massive projector or an absolutely massive LCD or something, and then
Yeah.
okay,
I
you might.
remember they operated at 1080i at the church with the, you know, they have the words come up on a screen.
Yeah,
I thought, how close I can get before I see the pixels. And it was probably about a meter from the screen, and it was like a 25-foot screen or something like that.
yeah,
You know, my eyes aren't that bad.
Yeah.
The pixels were about 0.5 millimeter by 1 millimeter, I think. You get right really close up to it, and that was on a massive screen. And I
Yeah,
thought, normal TV, you know, 40-inch or 22-inch or whatever, you know, we only got 27-inch, I think.
it's
65 is
going
fine.
absolutely mad.
Yeah,
It is. It's going absolutely mad with these 4K.
yeah.
4K
And
screens.
8K, there's 8K coming out now.
Yeah,
There's was it LG was trying to sell
there's something in the
8K.
technology where it doubles, a bit like computer memory.
Yeah, you're thinking 8,000 lines, and then you think, well, it's only 30 inches across. And then you think, you're not going to be able to see it. But the processing and the amount of bandwidth it uses, you know, and obviously it's robbing bandwidth from everybody else who's trying to watch stuff on 625 lines or something. And you think, we were at the time when I couldn't even do my business. I couldn't even get onto my Etsy shop because it was so slow. And eventually OpenReach came up and installed new multiplexers on all our poles because and there was a fire actually at the Newcastle server. So many people were pulling, you know, terabits of data through the internet, you know, through all this ultra high resolution video. It caused a fire in Newcastle and burnt the server out for several hours. It was literally, they called the fire brigade out, and it was on up north. People in the whole of the northeast had lost their broadband because this server had literally gone up in flames. It literally ran it, so it burst into flames, like, you know.
Nice one.
And so they have to replace that. They seem to have replaced it. We used to, when we first started Zooming with the local church, we couldn't use video because it wasn't fast enough. And when you were getting the audio, this, you know, it's all like,
Yeah.
and so we do like the praise and worship, but we don't like it being sounding like it's being played at 16 RPM, or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Crazy.
but I think Zoom itself has got a lot better recently. I think the
Oh,
technology
it's got a
behind
lot
Zoom
better.
changed.
Yeah, well, it's a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we
it's-
have probably about 20 people on the Zoom meeting for Sunday evening.
Yeah.
And it seems to work okay. Occasionally, it'll be just during music because it seems to not be able to handle music very well. But we
Yeah.
all mute so that, you know, we're not all trying to sing at the same time, but we mute so that we just hear the person doing the praise and worship coming through. But even then, it's sometimes the multiplexers here don't like that much sound coming through. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Well, I'm toying with the idea of going to Blackpool
Yeah.
because in 1950 something, the BBC did a program that was a live feed of Blackpool illuminations,
Oh yeah.
and they converted 2 Blackpool trams to use as mobile studios
Wow.
to do this live ride through the illuminations in Blackpool.
Yeah.
And it took 2 Blackpool trams worth of kit to do it. Stacked full of technical gear with these really great cameras
Yeah.
bolted on and that. And of course they're
Yeah.
all right for electric because they're on trams. That was idea.
Yeah.
You could get plenty of juice from the wires for the tram.
Headlines. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they did this in 1950 something. I think they did it for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, we could go and do that now, and I could go and sit on the front seat of a Blackpool tram now and take my phone out of my pocket and do exactly what they did.
Yeah. Live. Yeah. With a little iPhone. Yeah.
And do exactly the same thing.
Yeah. And in high
So-
resolution rather than 405 lines as it would have been in those days.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of contacting Blackpool Transport and seeing if they'd be game to let me borrow a Blackpool tram and see if we can remake it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it'd be a bit of good publicity for them to stream it live on their Facebook page or something.
It
wouldn't
would.
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I bet they've got no idea it ever happened now, of course, because all people that did it will be dead probably. So,
Yeah.
I thought might contact them and see if they'd be game for doing that.
Yeah.
as a live
Is there
stream.
any video footage of that original one now? Or,
I don't know. I've been looking for the original program. I've not managed to find it yet. But a lot of stuff you see that was live, they never recorded back then.
yeah.
Because they didn't have video then. They'd
Yeah.
have had to basically point a film camera to monitor to record it, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a feeling they probably never recorded it.
Yeah.
I've seen still photos from it, and
Yeah.
photos of the
Mm.
production and that, but I've not
Yeah.
actually seen any footage of the actual thing.
It's
So,
probably the sort of footage that places like the Bradford Media Centre might have.
Yeah.
They've got it. They seem to be the repository for all old BBC TV soft stock, like
Yeah,
programs.
they supposedly got a copy of everything, haven't they?
I think they have. They've got a lot of
How
Blue
that
Peter
works, I'm
stuff,
not
and
sure.
they've even had people donate reel-to-reel videotapes of programs that the BBC have lost, and they've ended up being processed by the Bradford Media Centre because they've got all that technology to play
Oh, is
back
that
stuff
it,
from
is
old
it?
tape.
Missing Believe Wiped and all that business. Is it done there?
In where?
Is it do there was a thing, the British Film Institute had an appeal, Missing Believed Wiped.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
trying to find stuff that
Yeah.
had got deleted.
Yeah, because they hadn't, obviously VCRs weren't a thing in a regular home until probably the mid to late 70s when VHS came out.
Yeah.
They had these people had these reel-to-reel videotape recorders going back to 1962. I think when the Techman did something about it.
Yeah.
First, 63 or something, or no, 64.
The first video cassette machine was 1969.
Yeah, that was a U-matic.
That was U-matic, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
That
one
was
down
mainly
there.
for professional use, wasn't it? The first sort of home, affordable
I think
home VCR.
it was meant for home use originally,
Yeah, yeah,
but A, nobody could afford it,
no,
and B, TV news companies suddenly realised it were quite good.
Yeah.
So it was for home use very originally, I think, but I think they quickly switched because they realised the market were in a different place than what they thought it was.
yeah, yeah.
But I have
Sony
got
had
one
some
downstairs.
success.
It A
Yeah.
doesn't work, and B, I can't get it working because mainly I can't pick it up to bloody move it. It's humongously
It's quite
heavy.
big. Yeah.
Yeah,
As anything like that, I suppose, a videotape machines, the head's going to be weighing quite a bit because it's a big head on them, isn't it?
yeah. There's a big everything on it. I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's big. It must be. It must be at least 4 foot long and probably about 3 foot deep, and depth foot and a half maybe.
Yeah.
It's humongous in a big wooden box, a big wooden chassis.
Yeah.
Basically, it's.
Has it got
huge.
valves in it?
Sorry.
Is it a valve? Has it got valves
No,
in it?
no. It's all transistors and solid state stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of mechanical gubbins to draw the tape out. And the cassettes are big themselves. The cassettes are way bigger than a VHS cassette.
Yeah.
And it all works mechanically, but I've not managed to get a picture out of it yet.
Yeah.
But I think I probably will eventually. I think it needs its head's
Be nice to
tweaking
get that
also.
working with your Sony TV, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, that'd be quite good. That would, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got a load of these U-matic tapes that came out of Skip at L3 Studios, so there might be
Oh wow, there might be something really interesting on them then.
there might be a missing Doctor Who on one of them or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I've got a missing Doctor Who, I could probably retire. So
Yeah. I mean, they
So-
wiped a lot of programs, didn't they, in the early days, because the tapes were so expensive.
yeah, well they
Um,
wiped it well into the 80s. They were wiping stuff. There's a
think it
list
was-
somewhere.
Yeah, there is a list somewhere.
I've
Yeah.
seen a list, and one of the things that they wiped was the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
And I think if ever I find it, I think I may have got one of the wiped Eurovision Song Contests,
Yeah.
because I think the last one they wiped was the year I got a video machine for the first time, and I think I recorded it.
Hate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had a thing about recording stuff I thought they'd never show again.
Yeah.
So it's no point recording something that will show ever again. But
Yeah.
only record things they'll never show again. So I recorded
Yeah.
some, and I'm sure I've got it somewhere. One that was wiped in about 1983, 84, something like that.
Wow.
Don't know
So that
where.
would be one that Eurovision might be looking for.
Yeah, well, it's one the BBC's looking for and BFI are looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or at least they were, unless they've found a copy of it. But they used to wipe.
Yeah.
They only wipe certain things, apparently.
Yeah.
One thing
Yeah.
that they used to like to wipe was, can you remember Multicoloured Swap Shop with Noel Edmonds?
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
They nearly,
Yeah,
they
that went
nearly
out
all got
live,
wiped.
didn't it? Yeah.
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 And the reason behind it apparently was because that was so long, going from 9:30 on Saturday morning, basically up to grandstand at lunchtime.
Yeah.
It used a complete tape,
Yeah.
and because it used a complete tape and it was live, there were no edits in these tapes,
Yeah.
so there were like no damage to them where they'd been cut and spliced or anything. So
Yeah.
they sold these bloody tapes to Australia.
Mm.
When Australian television wanted some videotape, when
Yeah.
they sold these tapes of Multicoloured Swap Shop to Australia,
Yeah.
who then recorded something else over the top of them.
Yeah.
So all the long things. So, for instance, I should think things like Grandstand are all wiped as well for exactly
Yeah.
the same reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a list somewhere, and it's not necessarily what you would think that's on the list.
Yeah.
There's some quite recent stuff on the list. So
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
all goes to hard drive now, doesn't it? I suppose that entire output of BBC, ITV, it all probably just that whole
You know-
output goes to a hard drive.
I don't know what they do with it. the last time I had anything to do with a TV business was probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a girl who was a producer stroke camera operator at one of these independent production companies.
Yeah.
And they just had some new cameras that recorded to SD cards or
Yeah.
something similar to SD cards.
Yeah.
Maybe they were compact
Yeah.
flash cards.
Yeah. Or a memory stick or something like that.
Yeah, and the previous cameras that they'd had, the ones that they were just getting rid of, recorded to digital tape.
Yeah.
And she said she much preferred the digital tape cameras.
Yeah.
Because if she went out on a job, she used to go out, just her, or maybe her and a trainee, would go out to film something, interview somebody, or film an event or something. And she said, when we did it on tape, if that tape snarled up in that camera, we lost about 30 seconds of what we'd done that day.
Yeah.
Now we put it on these cards. If that card goes corrupt, if it gets a bit cold or a bit hot or whatever, and that card goes corrupt, we can have lost that days, we can have lost that weeks.
Yeah.
He said it costs us many thousands of pounds more. She said, if anything goes wrong, she says it's now £100,000 bill, whereas before it would have been maybe a £1,000 bill to do it again. And and she didn't like them at all, these SD cameras, because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
There's always this thing. Yeah. There's always this thing with we're thinking about. Oh, we've got a cupboard full of vinyl records, and we're thinking, oh, we'll probably get all them onto a sort of like 32 gigabyte memory stick as MP3s. And then my wife quite sensibly says, well, what happens if you lose the memory stick?
Yeah. And what happens if the memory stick goes corrupt?
Yeah.
Because they must go corrupt after a while, memory sticks. I know CDs certainly do.
CDs do, yeah.
Because
I prefer, in a way, the good old-fashioned C90 for long-term storage of music. I've got some tapes that are 45 years old.
Yeah.
In the mid-70s, and they're not particularly big brand tapes, they're just standard C60s that I could afford when I was a kid, like, El Cheapo Dixon's things, but they still work and they still play back.
There's no foolproof way of archiving anything.
No.
Because whatever you archive onto, particularly now with digital archiving, you've then got to make sure you've always got a machine you can play it on.
Yeah. That's it, yeah.
You try playing back a digital recording from 20 years ago now, and this codec is not supported.
We'll be back to sheet music, won't we?
Yeah, but at least when everything's on film and stuff, you can hold a bit of film up to the light and roughly see what's on it, can't you?
Yeah.
And but now with all these different digital systems that people send you videos and you can't play them, even now modern ones, because there's like thousands and thousands of different ways of encoding them. So I don't know what they do. I don't know what the TV companies and the TV networks do now. It must be some kind of computer-based system, because they seem to stuff it up an awful lot. They seem to get wrong episodes on and completely wrong programs on, and and never realise. So it must all be on a playlist on a really Windows 95 computer somewhere.
Really old computer. Yeah.
And it just fires one off after other, because they do get it wrong quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
it amazes me that we had 625 line video from 1964 when I was born, and it was perfectly adequate for for at least 4 decades, and it's still a lot of stuff going out in 625. I mean, your standard definition TV channel is still standard definition of, well, a modern way of calling it 576i, and it's a good picture, and the
Yeah.
colours are nice and everything, and you think,
I'll tell you something, when you get on that bloody Channel 5 multiplex, it's going out in a lot less than 625 a lot of the time.
yeah. I remember when we when we had the problems with the broadband, the Roku, what it tends to do is it'll try and play something in high definition video. It can only play 1080p anyway, as maximum. But if it can't play it in that, it'll reduce the number of lines until it can stream smoothly.
Yeah.
And you see the picture go really blurred. And at one time it went down to 180i, and I thought, dear me, 180p rather. I thought that's probably less than the old Baird system in it. That was 202 lines,
Yeah.
and we're down to less than
It's got a
200
big
lines.
disc in it and a light behind it.
I don't know. It's the one where it was filmed, wasn't it? And then put through some sort of like light scanner or something. And
Yeah, it's a flying spot. It's a big disc with
Yeah.
a pinhole in it, basically. And it a
the
big disc with a lot of
Nipco
pinholes in that goes towards middle, like a snail sort of.
Yeah,
It's
Nipco
sprint
disc.
disc, and then persistence of vision sort of makes this spot
Yeah,
scan
yeah.
across. Yeah.
Mm. Somebody actually made a Nipco disc with lenses in it. It was about 2 meters in diameter to create enough light for it to be sensitive to use. So we've got like 32 lenses in it.
Yeah.
Apparently this thing was so big, obviously very dangerous if anything happens, going around at 3,000 RPM, 2 meter disc.
Yeah.
So they used to spin it up. And then one day, I think one of the lenses came out or something and smashed into something. I can't remember the story. It smashed up through a ceiling and through the roof.
Yeah.
And of course, then
Landed
the
the next
disc wasn't.
continent.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible.
It's very good, that.
Yeah. I don't think the Nipco. Apparently, the moon landing cameras, they were all Nipco,
Yeah.
but they were something like 212 lines or something like 210 lines. I can't remember.
Yeah,
They were
that-
lower resolution than standard video, but they used Nipco disc technology because they were concerned that electronic CCDs or Vidicons would be affected by cosmic rays. So they had these specially made for the space program Nipco disc cameras.
Well, they must have been huge.
I think that the sensing element was quite small in it, but it was very sensitive.
Yeah.
The light sensor, but yeah, obviously get something that
How
size.
big were the
cameras
discs?
can be quite big, but yeah, I seem to remember them saying they had to use Nipco technology because it would have fried the Vidicon or the normal camera. And the high resolution shots you see are all stills,
Yeah.
and they're done with a photographic plate, obviously,
Yeah.
and they were brought down from space and developed in a conventional way. But the actual moving images that came live from the moon were done on a
Yeah.
Nipco
Or the
disc
desert in
quite
Arizona, depending on which way you look at it.
Huh?
Or all the images that came from the desert in Arizona, depending on
Somebody said, yeah. But yeah, I could see, when you look at the rather fuzzy images you get, I thought, yeah, it's probably quite likely it was a Nipco camera. But I don't know much about it. Person to ask there would be Fran Blanche, because she's got a lot of Apollo technology in her lab.
Yeah.
She's got an Apollo
Yes.
computer, hasn't she?
Yeah, it's very strange that I read a website once about this, and I can't remember what it was called. And I'd never be able to find it again in a million years. But it told you the story about the transmission back of the moon landings.
Yeah.
And whoever had done this website said, I'm going to tell you the facts as I know it, and
Yeah.
from what I've been told by people who were there.
Yeah.
You decide what you think. And there was some strange thing about how the pictures came back.
Yeah.
That they came back down to these dishes all around the
Jodrell Bank or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jodrell Bank and various places around the world, because as the moon went round, obviously different side of it were facing the earth. And all these dishes went basically into NASA's control room.
Yeah.
And then from there, the signal went out to all the TV companies all over the world that were doing it live. That's another thing they've wiped, by the way. They wiped the moon landings.
Yeah.
And there was a place in Australia called Honeysuckle Creek that had got one of these dishes.
Yeah.
And Australia is a bit like America, in that it has every little town has its own television station.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there was a bit in the moon landings, apparently, where they lost the transmission for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, this dish at Honeysuckle Creek was somewhere near Honeysuckle Creek television.
Yeah.
And the TV company in Honeysuckle Creek, it was a case of basically running a coax cable to next door to get a picture from this dish, straight from this dish. So they didn't bother going via NASA. They just went straight off this dish at Honeysuckle Creek when they could, because they thought the picture would be better, there'd be less delay on it, and their sort of technical boffins wanted to challenge you doing it.
Yeah.
And there's this woman who is a witness to it, who says that in that 20 minutes that nobody else saw, Neil Armstrong was walking about on moon and he kicked over a Coke can. On the moon.
On the moon, yeah.
And there's another thing. There's a documentary. It's been on TV here, but it's only ever been on once. I've never seen. There've been similar ones since, but not this exact one. And they got some photos taken on the moon at X location, and some photos taken on the moon at Y location.
Yeah.
Hundreds of miles apart on different missions.
Different missions, yeah.
You know, and they'd been. And they merged these two photos together, and the bloody mountains in the background matched up.
Really?
And they weren't in the same. And it's never ever been on again, that documentary. Every time there's anything on about Oak's moon landings and that, I watch it, and it's never that one. It never tells you that bit.
No.
That these mountains matched up. But apparently these mountains matched up, and somebody at NASA said, "Oh, we must have put the wrong number on the negatives." But totally different missions, totally different crews, with these rovers, and they went for miles with these rovers.
Yeah.
And they went for about 20 miles or something with it. I thought they just sort of had a little ride around thing, and they say they went for 20 miles with these rovers, and some of these things 100 miles apart, and just got these two pictures, and they went, choop, and it was a perfect match. This background, things in front were, but the background were. he said, right, you just make your own mind up. So we're not going to say anything, but you make your own mind up. So,
Yeah.
But I know something. I wouldn't like to be trying to launch a mission to the moon with a pocket calculator. Which is
Yeah.
effectively what they did, isn't it? So,
Is it
Or is
7K of ROM or something, RAM or something? They were going to, I think, Frank Blanche demonstrated the computer and explained how much RAM and ROM this thing had and the machine code and that was used.
yeah, but you can demonstrate computers. You brute face. You can't tell me how you managed to hit the bloody moon with one of them.
Yeah, yeah. I think now, well, they say that the average washing machine probably has more computing power than the Apollo mission computer did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see.
Mm.
We'll see when Elon Musk gets his rocket going.
Yeah. He's already got a
See.
car in orbit, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he launched his car into orbit, didn't
He
he?
launched the car into orbit, yeah. I don't know whether they're still tracking it, and whether it might fall down in 400 years as space debris, and they'll wonder what on earth it is.
In a few thousand years, when there's like an intergalactic version of Time Team
Yeah,
with a space Tony Robinson doing
yeah,
like interplanetary archaeology, and they're
yeah,
looking at these things that are all going around Earth, all these old ancient fossilized satellites and that they find.
yeah.
And when they find
Mhm.
Elon Musk bloody Tesla up there, they have some explaining to do
What on earth is this thing here?
because it's open, isn't it?
Yeah, a car. What's a car?
When they first said they were doing it,
Hmm.
I thought it was going to be enclosed in like a rocket shaped thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
going to stay inside it, a bit like a time
Yeah.
capsule sort of thing. But it's not.
Yeah.
The outer skin of it fell away, and it's just the car, isn't it?
just a
Because they had a
car.
live
Yeah,
feed for so long, didn't they, of it?
yeah, yeah,
A live webcam of it until it sort of went. It must have gone too far to get a signal back now. It must have like drifted off into space.
Yeah.
or something.
yeah.
But,
I know it's
yeah,
sort of like meant to be drifting off into interstellar space.
yeah.
Sort of like,
Well, they're
sort of
quite
like
they're
Star
quite funny.
Trek
They are.
and-
They're quite
Yeah.
funny. They are SpaceX. I like the live feed that they have, where they have
Yeah.
where technical when they're doing a launch, they have all the technical
Yeah.
terms of what they're supposed to do. At
Yeah.
different times. And
Mm.
first one, right at the very top of the list, it says check, pointy end up, flamey end down. Right, I think
Right, I
it
think
must be dog walking time.
Yeah, it's another marathon time. Yeah. We'll speak to you next week. Hopefully, I'll try and tune into the live shed.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
on
yeah,
Sunday?
yeah.
Yeah.
It should be
It's
on
usually-
Sunday night.
Yeah,
Right,
Oh, well.
I better go and walk the dog.
I better go and see my wife. She's getting a bit lonely in the other room. Probably
Yeah.
watching, binge watching TV.
Okay.
Okay,
No worries,
then.
Matt. Yeah, we'll
Right
see you
then,
soon.
cheers. Yeah, hope you get
Cheers.
your phone working.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
cheers.
Let us know how you get on.
Yeah. Cheers then.
Cheers.
Right,
Bye.
bye.